Chapter 1244. It was the last day of the protection period for Earth's coordinates, but Lu Chen was still in a technological world. Even Lu Chen, who had never given up, felt physically and mentally exhausted at this moment. He looked at this unfamiliar world with a dazed expression. He asked expressionlessly, "Ling Long, am I already too late?" Ling Long did not know what to say. There was no time. Not only was there no time, but they had not even found the way and were still lost in the myriad world maze. Nameless, you've done your best. No one can guarantee that everything will be done flawlessly. Everyone will have their own regrets. What's the use of trying my best? I still couldn't guard Earth's last coordinate, Lu Chen said as he walked forward in a daze. Where are you going? Ling Long hurriedly chased after him. Lu Chen's current state was not right. Lu Chen did not say anything and just walked along the bloodstains. Lu Chen did not say anything, so Ling Long could only follow behind him silently. At the seventh heaven, all the planet inquiry devices in the human race's immortal realm displayed a red alert at the same time. Earth's protection period had expired. At the same time, Earth's basic information was displayed. Red alert, Earth, 20 coordinates have been claimed. Remaining coordinates, 1, this planet's protection period has expired. In every city in the immortal realm, the inquiry devices were usually the most crowded places. At this time, everyone was attracted by this eye-catching warning message. The protection period of a planet has expired, 20 coordinates. It's a technological world. It's not interesting. The technological world also has resources. Although the development of spiritual power in the technological world is often destroyed beyond recognition, there are still some usable spiritual power resources. This is easy to get. There's only one coordinate left. As long as we get this coordinate, we can get the resources. Soon, another row of information appeared on the inquiry device. Information of the owner of the remaining coordinates, solipsistic, immortal level, none, cave abode, none, immortal battle record, 0 battles, 0 wins. Ah. Not even immortal level. So it's a rogue immortal. Wouldn't I be giving away resources for free? A man walked up to the inquiry device and inserted his information card. Challenge solipsistic. The challenge has been accepted. There are currently 168 challengers. The order is based on the time of application. If the challenge fails, the challengers will continue to challenge. If the challenge succeeds, the order will be invalid, 168 challengers. So many people wanted to take advantage of the situation. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have challenged him. Even if I had queued up, it would have been a waste. When the others saw this, some of them were originally eager to give it a try, but they immediately dismissed the idea. There were 168 people waiting to challenge him. How long he had to wait was a small problem. The key was that there was no chance for him to get his turn. In my opinion, what's the point of challenging such a trashy planet? We should just sacrifice it. That's true. The last set of coordinates is held by someone who hasn't even opened the immortal path and hasn't even reached the immortal realm. Isn't this a waste of time? Just as the people of various cities were idly discussing this planet that was about to be sacrificed, 2 more lines of words suddenly appeared on the query device. Information changed. Currently, there are only 3 Earth coordinates left. Then, below the solipsistic information, 2 more lines of information appeared. Flying General, Immortal Realm, none, Cave Abode, 9 stars Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode, Immortal War Record, 3 battles, 3 losses. Bright Lamp, Immortal Realm, none, Cave Abode, 9 stars Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode, Immortal War Record, 2 battles, 2 losses. Some people who had already stopped paying attention to the information on Earth were suddenly attracted by these 2 new pieces of information. What's going on? Are they all itinerant immortals? Did they snatch the coordinates from the true immortals? It shouldn't be. The Immortal War record is very clear. They have never won the Immortal War. Naturally, they couldn't have snatched the coordinates back by themselves. Their immortal master should have helped them. Which immortal master would be so stupid to help these people? They are too weak, and Earth's protection period has expired. The coordinates in their hands will be taken away very soon. When that time comes, I want to see if their immortal master will continue to help them. New information appeared on the query device again. It seemed like there was a lot of information about Earth. Solipsistic cultivator who has not issued a challenge within 20 minutes will be deemed to have forfeited the Immortal War. The coordinates will be transferred to the first challenger. Earth's remaining coordinates, 2, after that, the information about Earth's coordinates would be refreshed every once in a while. Flying General, 54 challengers. Remaining time to answer, 18 minutes 47 seconds. Bright Lamp, 62 challengers. Remaining time to answer, 2 minutes 12 seconds. Bright Lamp accepts the challenge of the 100-source True Immortal. Location, Kunlun Immortal Battleground. Information changed. New coordinates, Hua Hun, Immortal Realm, Nun, Cave Abode, 9 Stars Grotto Heaven, Low-Level Cave Abode, Immortal War Record, 2 battles, 2 losses. Current total coordinates on Earth, 3, information changed. Bright Lamp's coordinates have been seized. Current total coordinates on Earth, 2, at the same time, Bright Lamp's personal information was deleted from the table. Information changed. New coordinates, Wentian, Immortal Realm, Nun, Cave Abode, 9 Stars Grotto Heaven, Low-Level Cave Abode, Immortal War Record, 3 battles, 3 losses. Current total coordinates on Earth, 3, these messages were refreshed every few minutes. Everyone was baffled by what they saw. What's going on? Are these itinerant immortals crazy? Who on earth is helping them? There must be something wrong with that true immortal's brain. How many true immortals are helping them? This is the first time I've seen such a thing. Interesting. All their immortal battlegrounds are held in Kunlun City. I'll go and see what the hell is going on. It was too easy to teleport to the 7th heaven. A teleportation talisman could do it. At this time, more and more people were flocking to Kunlun City to see what was going on with their own eyes. Kunlun City Immortal Battleground. Yi Fan had just taken back a set of Earth's coordinates from a 5 Tribulation itinerant immortal and quickly handed it to Li Shang. True immortal Li Long was only a nameless character in the 7th heaven. Even so, his star level was 2 stars higher than Yi Fan's. Yi Fan had just entered the 7th heaven. Although he had opened the path of immortality, he was only a 1-star true immortal. Relying on Yi Fan's extremely strong fighting ability, after a fierce battle, he finally took back the Earth's coordinates. Senior Li Shang, I'll immediately challenge the next one. Lu Chen had just stood up when he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. This was not Yi Fan's first battle. Although these Earth itinerant immortals waited until the last moment to accept the challenge and did their best to delay the time, Yi Fan and Jiu could not delay. Others had 20 minutes to accept the challenge. They must quickly take back more coordinates so that they would not run out of coordinates. However, Earth itinerant immortals might only take a few minutes to lose a match. But Yi Fan might take a long time to win a match. Because of this, Yi Fan did not dare to stop at all. In every immortal battle, he must defeat his opponent in the shortest time possible. Li Shang looked at Yi Fan spitting out blood. His eyes widened. Yi Fan, senior need not say anymore. The Dean's home is Yi Fan's home. If it was him, he would also risk his life to protect it. There is not much time left. I'll immediately challenge the next person. Yi Fan hurriedly left. Not long after, Jiu also took back a set of coordinates and gave it to Li Shang. But Jiu's situation was worse than Yi Fan's. There was a long cut on her arm. Senior Li Shang, these are the coordinates. I'll go challenge the next one. Jiu hurriedly left. Li Shang was somewhat choked. These two people had already fought 3 times in a row. Their bodies were already injured. But they still did not give up. What made people depressed was that even though Li Shang's heart was filled with mixed feelings, he did not have time to think. Li Shang, Ming Deng, Fei Jiang are already seriously injured. Give me this set of coordinates. Gu Yan said. Give me the other one. Jin Luan checked Ming Deng and Fei Jiang's injuries and quickly walked over. Li Shang's hands trembled. These coordinates were not fighting for glory but the ticket to hell. Chapter 1245. Lu Chen had realized that the coordinates of Earth in his backpack had disappeared. Since he had exceeded the battle time, he was considered to have forfeited, and the last coordinates in his hands were taken back. It's over. Lu Chen stood there shakily as if he had lost his soul. Ling Long walked to Lu Chen's side. The coordinates, they're gone. Lu Chen closed his eyes slightly, and 2 streams of tears formed a line. Ling Long was also affected by Lu Chen's emotions, and her eyes were red. This man had never cried in front of her. Even a moment ago, he was still searching numbly. But now, he finally broke down. A person who never gives up might not be able to change the outcome. Nameless. Ling Long did not know how to comfort Lu Chen, and could only stand there with him. 10 minutes later, Ling Long could not bear it, but she still asked, Nameless, did you receive it? Receive what? Lu Chen asked weakly. I don't mean anything else. I just want you to confirm if you received the news that your world has been sacrificed, Ling Long said. Ling Long said, if your world is sacrificed, everyone on this planet within the 7 heavens will receive the news in 10 minutes. The myriad world maze is a part of the 7th heaven after all. You can receive it too. Lu Chen's eyes suddenly widened. I didn't receive it. You didn't receive it? This. Is there a turning point? Ling Long said excitedly. Lu Chen looked nervous and thought carefully. Impossible, there can't be a turning point. Li Shang and the others are not strong enough to take back Earth's coordinates, and the strongest of the other Earthlings is only at the 5th heaven. Could it be that they went to beg a true immortal? Ling Long asked. Lu Chen did not know. He had been lost in the myriad world maze for 2 years. How could he know what had happened in the 7th heaven main world? Nameless, no matter what, if you didn't receive the news, it means that Earth has not been sacrificed. We still have a chance. Ling Long pulled Lu Chen's arm. Lu Chen nodded blankly. Nameless, no matter what the reason is, you cannot give up now. Lu Chen nodded numbly. Of course, he did not want to give up. However, he was still in the myriad world maze and had not even found the exit of this world. I won't give up. Lu Yi, Zhu Yi, they are still on Earth. I can't give up. I can't watch them die. Lu Chen kept reminding himself. Suddenly, Lu Chen grabbed Ling Long's hand. Ling Long, is there any other way out of the myriad world maze? I don't care what method you use. Ling Long frowned. I would have told you if I knew. Nameless, calm down. Only then did Lu Chen loosen his grip, his mind whirling. Right below the cliff in front of them was the magical beast lair of this world. Looking over from here, they could see black magical beasts crawling out endlessly, and then rushing in all directions. Staring blankly at the monsters, Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. No, I don't believe there's no other way out. In the past 2 years, Lu Chen had been to more than 500 worlds. Each world was invaded by magical beasts arranged according to the martial arts level of the world. These magical beasts were guaranteed to crush the current world. In the technological world, there were only some weak magical beasts that were massacred under the protection of the Soul Shield. In the martial arts world, there were powerful magical beasts like the Black Demon, the Black Demon King, and the Black Demon God that were guaranteed to be stronger than the current world's strongest. In the martial arts world, there were terrifying existences like the Black God guarding it. There were no exceptions in the 500 worlds. These magical beasts were deliberately arranged. Lu Chen suddenly said. Ah. You mean these magical beasts? That's true, Ling Long said. Since it was arranged, where did these magical beasts come from? They couldn't have appeared out of thin air. Lu Chen looked at the magical beast lair. There are so many magical beasts, endless. Where did they all come from? Suddenly, Lu Chen's eyes lit up. Could there really be so many magical beasts in the lair? No, no matter how deep the lair was, it couldn't have produced so many magical beasts out of thin air. These magical beasts should have been sent over. And what could be connected to the 10,000 worlds and send these magical beasts to different worlds of different martial arts levels? It was the Great Mongol Tree. Only the Great Mongol Tree could send these magical beasts to so many different worlds. The Great Mongol Tree is connected to the 10,000 worlds. What sent these magical beasts to the various worlds is the root system of the Great Mongol Tree. And the root system of the Great Mongol Tree must be connected to the Seven Heavens main world. Lu Chen's eyes widened. After saying that, he looked at Ling Long, I can't take you with me because I don't know where it leads. You are a true immortal and your lifespan is not limited. You don't have to take the risk with me. Ling Long looked at Lu Chen in shock. What are you going to do? Lu Chen's eyes were like torches as he said in a deep voice, I have to go back. Even if it's the 10,000 tribulations hell, I have to give it a try. After saying that, Lu Chen rushed into the magical beast's lair in a flash and disappeared. The mountain breeze blew past, lifting Ling Long's long hair. She stared blankly at the magical beast's lair below the cliff, her heart suddenly empty. He left. Although he was right, Ling Long was a 9 true immortal. Not to mention 2 years, she could afford to waste 20 years or even 200 years. She didn't need to take the risk. However, when he abandoned her without hesitation, Ling Long still felt a sense of loss in her heart. After a long time, Ling Long shook her head and said faintly with reddened eyes, Ling Long, what's wrong with you? You didn't need to take the risk with him in the first place. After saying that, Ling Long sat down cross-legged and prepared to cultivate the ice heart technique. But after cultivating for a while, 2 streams of hot tears flowed down uncontrollably. In the magical beast's lair, countless magical beasts attacked this intruder like seawater. Symbiosis of gods and demons. Dragon God form. Lu Chen activated his skill and transformed into a white-haired, golden-armored god of war. He roared, "Get lost!" It wasn't that these magical beasts were worth it, but that he had to race against time. Between them, a golden figure wrapped in raging flames drove straight in with irresistible force. It traversed thousands of miles and cut through all the thorns in its way to the Earth's core. Any magical beasts that got close to him were all burned to ashes. Great Mongol Tree, come out! Lu Chen roared, and spiritual power roared all over his body. Countless magical beasts, including the leader of this group of magical beasts, couldn't get close to Lu Chen at all. Half an hour later, Lu Chen had already drilled tens of thousands of meters into the ground. The Great Mongol Tree had said that its roots were rooted near the Earth's core. Perhaps he could find it there. Not long after, Lu Chen indeed got close to the Earth's core. Just beside the Earth's core, he saw an object wrapped in vines that looked like a heart. This thing was exactly the same as the branch of the Great Mongol Tree that Lu Chen had defeated on the 9th floor of the pagoda. Found it. Lu Chen widened his eyes. Come out. Otherwise, I'll destroy one of your branches whenever I go to a world. There are tens of thousands of worlds in the myriad world maze. If there's one, I'll destroy it. As soon as he finished speaking, the vines wriggled, and Lu Chen saw the beautiful face of a young girl. The young girl wasn't angry at all. She smiled at Lu Chen. "It's been 2 years. You finally found me." Chapter 1246. Lu Chen's eyes were wide open as he stared at the girl's face. He lowered his voice and said fiercely, "You heard what I said just now. Send me back to the 7th heaven now. Otherwise, even if you're rooted in the myriad worlds, I'll uproot you." The vines rolled, and the girl's complete body broke away from the dense vines. She walked slowly to Lu Chen. The girl frowned slightly and pretended to be surprised. "I don't think you should be talking to me like this now. If you want to go back, shouldn't you be begging me?" Lu Chen clenched his fists and stared at the girl. After a while, Lu Chen said, "What do you want?" The girl smiled. 23 months and 27 days, you've experienced 513 worlds. During this time, you've saved 74 worlds. If you didn't waste this time, you might have found me earlier. Lu Chen, I want to ask you, do you regret it? Lu Chen took a deep breath and calmed his emotions. Yes. If I walk again, I'll save them again. What I regret is that I didn't think of you earlier. You exist in every world. The girl looked at Lu Chen and frowned slightly. After experiencing so many worlds and seeing so many deaths, even if you didn't see through it, don't tell me you're not numb to it. Dust Fate Star, White Wave Star, Hong 5 Star, I can tell you clearly that those worlds have been massacred within a year after you left. The people you know are all dead. The green mist in Lu Chen's eyes rolled out uncontrollably. If she wasn't his only hope to go back, Lu Chen would have exploded. The young siblings, Tian Rui, Wuxia, Zhu Jin, they were all dead, don't you understand? You can't save anyone. Seeing Lu Chen's furious eyes, the girl chuckled and looked away. You're looking at me so fiercely. It's quite scary. I have to explain that my interest is in reproduction, not destruction. These creatures are not under my command. I just exist in the myriad worlds. What people use me for, whether it's saving people or killing people, is not something I can control. Just like the god-slaying spear in your hand. You use it to kill people and save demons. That's your business, not the god-slaying spears. So, don't blame this on me. I feel wronged. The girl looked at Lu Chen again. Lu Chen, you are different from the others in the 7th layer of heaven. After so many years, this is the first time I've seen a mortal rush up to the 7th layer of heaven. Immortals and devils are emotionless. What is love? They have 7 emotions and 6 desires. They pursue the heavenly Tao and in the end, they merge with the heavenly Tao and return to the heavenly Tao. But you are different. Going from the 1st heaven to the 7th heaven didn't change you. The myriad world maze didn't change you. You are you. Mortal, there's something I'm interested in on you. Lu Chen wasn't in the mood to listen to the great Mongol tree. He said angrily, what are you trying to say? Look at how anxious you are. Don't you know that I have the time-space? We are in the time-space now. It won't take up too much of your time. Lu Chen frowned. Even in the time-space, he was anxious. He didn't know what was going on in the 7th layer of heaven. He didn't want to waste a second. Okay. You asked me what I want. Then I'll say it directly. The girl smiled. I want to make a deal with you. What kind of deal? I want to. The girl's eyes started to look a little strange. Reproduce. Lu Chen was originally very anxious. When he heard this unreasonable request, Lu Chen almost vomited blood at such an urgent moment. She wanted him to reproduce with a tree. What kind of weird request was this? Reproduce. You're not a human. Besides, I'm not in the mood. The girl covered her mouth and smiled. It seems that you're very shy. The reproduction I'm talking about is different from the mating you humans talk about. Of course, if you want to do it in that way, I can also satisfy you. As long as you want, I can also be a human. I can be any race you want. If you agree to my request, I'll send you back to the 7th layer of heaven. How about it? Lu Chen took a deep breath. Countless thoughts were in his mind. Then, he took off his coat and said, I only have one condition. Hurry up. I'm in a hurry. The girl smiled charmingly. Her whole body retreated into the heart chamber and her body disintegrated into vines. Then, thousands of thin vines wrapped around Lu Chen's body and dragged him into the heart chamber. The vines wrapped around Lu Chen's limbs and body, making him unable to move. The fastest way will be a little painful. Don't resist. The girl's face appeared beside Lu Chen's ear and whispered. Then, thousands of vines directly pierced into the surface of Lu Chen's body. His whole body was stinging. Lu Chen shouted in a low voice, I'll go. This seems to be a bit different from the reproduction scene in Lu Chen's imagination. Those vines began to twitch Lu Chen's blood. The blood flowed along the vines into the heart chamber. In the center of the heart chamber, countless thin red vines were intertwined into a ball, seemingly forming some kind of strange shape. Not long after, Lu Chen saw that the vines were forming the shape of a human baby. It was becoming more and more concrete, and more vivid. The girl's sharp screams sounded in his ears. It seemed that her pain was more severe than Lu Chen's. Half an hour, Lu Chen's blood was still slowly flowing to the baby. Didn't you say it would be fast? It's been half an hour. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and said. The girl's voice was a little weak. What, other reproduction methods, can you be faster than half an hour? Lu Chen was actually speechless. He looked sideways at the baby. At this time, it was exactly the same as a normal human baby, wrapped in a large number of vines. Finally, it slowly opened its eyes and opened its mouth to cry loudly. Lu Chen frowned. You can't be a clone. Cloning goes against the laws of heaven and earth. I'm talking about reproduction. It's just that the method isn't what you think. This child has fused with our genes. It's our real child. Although the girl had been transformed into vines and Lu Chen couldn't see her, her voice was always by Lu Chen's ear. The girl gasped for breath. I've seen countless people separated by life and death. I've also seen the sinister nature of human hearts. I know how fragile humans are. However, isn't it interesting? I'm a creature with unimaginable strength, but I desire to become a normal person. I don't have the chance, but our child can. My child is no longer a seed without consciousness. He can no longer be manipulated by others, no longer be a tool. He can have his own future. He can use his own hands to change his own destiny. At this time, the girl's voice was trembling. It was as if she was a real mother. When she saw her child with countless expectations, she was so emotional that tears streamed down her face. Lu Chen, I can't keep the child by my side. I'll send him to your sister and let her bring him back to the real world. Lu Chen was so shocked that he didn't speak. He had a son. He had a son with a tree. No one seemed to be able to accept this. Chapter 1247. Lu Chen would never have dreamed that his first time would be taken away by a tree. And in such a strange way. Speaking of which, could this be considered a first time? This was clearly taking the genes directly from his body. Child's father, let's give our child a name. The girl's voice became unusually gentle. Lu Chen was stunned for a while before he reacted. No matter what, this child was indeed his son. Name. Lu Mu. That sounds a bit unpleasant. Lu Yao, don't you want him to be free? Lu Yao. Okay, let's call him Lu Yao. Leave a keepsake for the child, I will entrust him to your sister. The vines on Lu Chen's body were finally removed. Lu Chen was in a daze until he saw the little life crying beside him. His crying expression was as if his eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. This was his son. Lu Chen carefully picked up the baby. Thinking about the things on him, he finally stuffed a photo into the little guy's hands. It was the family photo that Lu Chen brought back last time. Parents, Lu Chen, and Lu Yi's family photo. Lu Yi definitely wouldn't mistake this thing when she saw it. The girl transformed into her human form, walked out, and carefully took the child. In the girl's hands, the child miraculously stopped crying and peacefully leaned on the girl's chest. He wants to drink milk. Lu Chen said awkwardly. Do you still want to keep him by your side? Keep him by my side. Then he's even more unfortunate than me. He doesn't need milk. The girl raised her hand, and many vines extended from her heart and weaved into a suitable cradle. One of the vines extended into his mouth. Some white liquid poured into the vines, and the child used all his strength to lick. I'm Lu Yao's mother, how can I let him starve? Lu Chen, your all-creation bloodline has already reached the 2nd level, but you don't have time to improve it now. I'll send you back to the 7th heaven. Lu Chen nodded blankly. Right, I still have a friend outside, what? You already have me, and you're still thinking about other women? Between us, the girl smiled. I was just joking, but you took it seriously. Alright, I will guide your friend away. Now, you can return to the 7th heaven. After saying that, his heart cavity opened, and a teleportation door appeared inside. Lu Chen walked in front of the teleportation gate. Coincidentally, Lu Yao was looking at Lu Chen and saying something. Lu Chen looked back at Lu Yao. Regardless of the manufacturing process, the result was that this child was his son. Is he leaving just like that? Lu Chen stopped in his tracks. You're sure you'll send him to Lu Yi? Why should I believe you? What? Are you afraid that I'll eat our child? Don't forget, he's not only your son, he's also my son. Hurry up and go back. If you don't hurry up, Earth will be sacrificed. Lu Chen was still worried, but the matter of the coordinates was too urgent. Considering that the girl was right, he turned around and walked towards the portal. By the way, what's your name? Great Mongol Tree. No, I'm just a branch of it. If you really want to call me that, call me Mu Sheng. After Lu Chen heard this, he memorized the name and directly stepped into the portal. Not long after, Lu Chen walked out of the portal. At this moment, he was standing in the ruins of Changshu City. I'm back. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Oh no, where are they now? I don't have a teleportation talisman either. Lu Chen rushed to the West City. There was a planet's information retrieval device there, and there were many people gathered there. Lu Chen pushed through the crowd and saw the eye-catching information on the device. Information changed, the Golden Imperial Palace's coordinates have been stolen. Current Earth's coordinates: 1, Lishang, Immortal Level, None, Cave Abode, 9-star Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode, Immortal Battle Record, 5 defeats in 5 battles. Lishang, 183 challengers, remaining time to answer, 2 minutes 47 seconds. That Yi Fan and Jiu won't be able to snatch it back this time. Someone said from the side. Those two immortals have fought 7 or 8 battles in a row. They are so seriously injured that they can't move. I don't understand why they insist on protecting this earth. It's useless. That Li Shang seems to be unable to hold on anymore. He almost died in the previous battle. This time, once he answers, the battle will be over in 10 seconds. Those 10 immortals from Earth took turns to fight. It seems that 6 or 7 of them died. A immortal said leisurely. Suddenly, a figure flashed in front of him and grabbed his collar. A pair of terrifying eyes appeared in front of that person. Where are they? Ah. What are you doing? Where are they? That person wanted to break free but found that the spiritual power that erupted from this person's body was extremely terrifying. He was almost strangled to death. Where is Earth's immortal battle? Lu Chen squeezed out a few words from between his teeth. In Kunlun City. Take me there now. That person hurriedly took out a teleportation talisman and teleported with Lu Chen to Kunlun City. Kunlun City Immortal Battle Arena. Next to the first Immortal Battle Arena's grandstand, there were several people covered in cuts and bruises lying on the ground. Yi Fan, Jiu Fei Jiang, Gu Yan, Ming Deng. It was unknown whether these people were dead or alive. Yi Fan supported his body and looked at the people beside him. Jiu was still breathing but her spiritual power was exhausted. Coupled with the heavy injuries on her body, she had fainted. Jin Luan, who had just fought, had a big hole in his chest. They had used up all their pills and could only watch him die. Fei Jiang and Ming Deng had already lost their breath. It was unknown whether the remaining people were dead or alive. Li Shang's arms were cut off and he was on the verge of death. However, at this time, there was no one else who could fight. This last coordinate could only be guarded by him. Senior Li Shang. Yes, cough cough cough. Sorry. Yi Fan's eyes were red. Li Shang looked at Yi Fan and then looked at his companions lying here. Tears streamed down his face. Yi Fan, you and Jiu have already done your best. Such a great kindness, unfortunately. We can only repay it in the next life. Old Li, can you let me see one more time? Jin Luan said weakly. Li Shang nodded and took out the illusion map. He opened the fantasy realm map. The blue planet was rotating peacefully. The other rogue cultivators on the verge of death struggled to open their eyes. Using their last bit of strength, they looked at the beautiful planet. Although she couldn't speak, the moment they saw their homeland, the pain on their bodies seemed to disappear at this moment. Sorry. We are too useless. We couldn't protect you well. Jin Luan painfully closed his eyes and let the tears fall. There was only 1 minute left before the final response time. Li Shang took out the last coordinate and slowly stood up. Even if we are defeated, we will defend to the end. Even if they want to take away Earth, they will have to step over my dead body. Senior Li Shang. Yi Fan's heart was in pain and tears fell like rain. At this moment, the sky suddenly darkened, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. A loud shout directly covered the countless thunder and lightning. Those who touch my homeland. Kill without mercy. Chapter 1248. Li Shang, Yi Fan, Jin Luan and the rest stared blankly at the sky. Whose anger could trigger the wrath of the heavens? A black shadow directly shot down from the sky above the immortal arena and landed in front of Li Shang and the others with a bang. Lu Chen's eyes widened as he looked at the wounded. Little Green. Lu Chen called out, Little Green, quick, save them no matter what. Lu Yi hurriedly checked everyone's injuries. Li Shang, Yi Fan, and Jin Luan looked at Lu Chen in shock. Dean. You're finally back. I knew you would come back. Quick, quick, there's no time. Senior Li Shang, coordinates. Li Shang didn't have time to say anything. He hurriedly flew the coordinates to Lu Chen and gave them to Lu Chen. There was less than a minute left. No matter what they had to say, transferring the coordinates was the most important thing. Lu Chen received the coordinates and looked at everyone's injuries. Anger attacked his heart. Among these people, he didn't know how many he could save. They were using their lives to buy time. Everyone had done their best to protect Earth. Yi Fan and Jiu also came. Unfortunately, Lu Chen didn't have time to ask. He pressed one hand on Yi Fan's shoulder and nodded at him. He said with a trembling voice, Yi Fan, good job, rest well. Leave the rest to me. Chen, be careful. There are 183 challengers. Lu Chen came back, but it didn't mean the coordinates were safe. The real battle had just begun. 6 years of preparation. No, if Lu Yuan and Li Shang's plan was included, then decades of preparation were all for this battle. The battle to protect. There were already 183 challengers in this battle, but Lu Chen was the only one on Earth's side. Lu Chen nodded, Senior Li Shang, I'm going. Then he turned and walked toward the immortal battle arena. Jin Luan swallowed a pill and struggled to sit up. His eyes followed Lu Chen's back as his breathing quickened. Old Li, can that kid hold on? Li Shang leaned against the wall and sighed, I don't know, I only know that if he can't defend, then no one can. In the Kunlun City Immortal Colosseum, a loose immortal was already waiting there. Earth's last place was already in the bag. It was just that this group of individual immortals was weak, but they were too cunning. They had to wait until the last moment before accepting the challenge. He shouted to the audience, I say, you trash from Earth, are you still not willing to give up? The true immortal helping you can't even move. No matter how you ten and struggle, you won't be able to change the outcome. What need is there to protect a world like yours? A group of loose immortals was the worst amongst loose immortals. I've already said that I wouldn't have to waste so much time if I killed all of you. Until now, you still don't agree to the challenge. Li Shang, I think you might as well give up, lest you get beaten to death by me when you get on the stage. At this moment, a prompt came from above the stage, Solipsistic has accepted the challenge. Please get on the stage to accept the challenge within 30 seconds. That loose immortal frowned slightly. Who is Solipsistic? Those loose immortals from Earth had already gone on the stage, some even went on the stage twice, but he had never heard of such a person. But then he felt relieved. I guess they found someone to die. Anyway, those immortal cultivators from Earth are famous for their weak strength. It doesn't matter who goes up. Hey, Solipsistic. Get on the stage and accept your death. If you behave, I'll give you a quick death. On the other side of the immortal Colosseum, a tall man appeared at the entrance. The wind lifted his black robe with golden patterns, but it didn't extinguish the anger in his eyes. Not long after, Lu Chen had already walked to the center of the stage. He glanced at that loose immortal, narrowed his eyes slightly and said coldly, Who are you calling trash? That person wasn't afraid of Lu Chen at all. He raised his head and said contemptuously, What do you think? Look at those trash from Earth, they were beaten like dogs. If they aren't trash, then what are they? In this world, the strong can wantonly trample on trash like you. To be honest, I have no interest in your trash planet. I just feel that you guys are not worthy to appear in the 7th layer of heaven. Being a loose immortal like you guys is the biggest insult to me. Lu Chen snorted coldly, Sorry, I'm not a loose immortal. That person clicked his tongue, Not a loose immortal. Don't tell me you're a true immortal. Dream on. Lu Chen said calmly, I'm also not a true immortal. I'm a human king. Human king. You, what kind of joke are you making? That person suddenly widened his eyes and looked at Lu Chen in disbelief. Lu Chen sneered, I'm telling you this because I want you to understand one thing before you die. You are not worthy to be mentioned in the same breath as Li Shang and the others. With a ding sound, the immortal Colosseum began. That person shouted angrily, Solipsistic, you are really arrogant. Unfortunately, your arrogance doesn't match your strength, so you are just a jumping clown. I'll let you know what a 7th tribulation loose immortal is. Immortal technique, 7 ultimate spirit energy cannon. This guy was actually an explosion expert. This was the first time Lu Chen saw an explosion expert in the 7th layer of heaven. If it was a normal time, he might have a good chat with him. But now they are enemies. Lu Chen snorted and instantly activated Divine Demon Symbiosis and Dragon God form. In the distance, Yi Fan was leaning against the wall. When he saw the changes in Lu Chen's form, he couldn't help but frown. Strange, when the Demon God Symbiosis is activated, why is there an instant of a Demon God's image? He had seen the Dean fight many times, so he was quite familiar with Divine Demon Symbiosis. In the past, it was just white hair and a bunch of fox ears. But just now, when Divine Demon Symbiosis was activated, two afterimages suddenly appeared. After shaking the surrounding space, they quickly disappeared. Li Shang also frowned. Last time when Lu Chen fought with Chang Sheng, there was no afterimage of Divine Demon. Don't tell me, it leveled up. Yi Fan's eyes widened. Lu Chen's Divine Demon Symbiosis has indeed leveled up. Now it is Divine Demon 8 transformation and the effect is more powerful than before. Quick Shadow Spear. With a roar, a black spear appeared in Lu Chen's hand. In the blink of an eye, man and spear became one and shot out. In an instant, 4 more shots were fired. Just as the 7 ultimate spiritual energy cannon was activated, a black shadow had already arrived in front of the itinerant immortal. The itinerant immortal's eyes widened. The speed of the spear was so fast that he could not dodge it at all. So fast. Spiritual energy armor shield. The moment the shield was formed, the god-slaying spear had already pierced through the shield. It did not even cause a strong spiritual explosion. When skills of similar power collided, there would definitely be spiritual energy fluctuations. However, if the difference between two skills was too great, the spiritual energy fluctuations would be engulfed by the stronger side before they could spread. An extreme shadow instantly pierced through the itinerant immortal's chest. A moment later, the itinerant immortal fell forward stiffly with a horrified expression on his face. In 1 second, a 7th tribulation itinerant immortal was killed. Just now, this itinerant immortal did not have the coordinates of other planets. However, Lu Chen could obtain the collateral of this itinerant immortal, which was equivalent to the coordinates of other planets. As for what exactly it was, he would have to retrieve it after the battle. Lu Chen stood in the middle of the arena again. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at the corpse on the ground. He said coldly, "Trash." Chapter 1249. After going through the myriad world labyrinth, Lu Chen's all-creation bloodline had been upgraded to the first stage, level 5, and his attributes had increased by 50%. In addition, the effect of the 8 transformations of celestial demons had doubled. Now, in front of Lu Chen, itinerant immortals had no power to fight back at all. Accept the next challenge. Lu Chen said coldly. In 30 consecutive challenges, all itinerant immortals were defeated by Lu Chen in one move. Lu Chen was a man of his word. This time, he didn't stay behind and killed everyone who fought for Earth's coordinates. No one was left alive. Earth's coordinates were refreshed again and again, and all of them were the words "Solipsistic defeated challengers." In the human territory, countless people were watching this competition. Even those who didn't pay attention were flooded by the eye-catching warning messages on the planet's information inquiry device. Who is this Solipsistic? 30 consecutive wins. He must have killed some itinerant immortals. Look at his immortal arena, there is no change. The fights between itinerant immortals and immortals are not counted in the immortal arena. Even if he is an itinerant immortal, he is not an immortal level itinerant immortal. 30 consecutive wins, could he be the strongest among the itinerant immortals? At this moment, almost at the same time, the inquiry device refreshed 20 messages. Solipsistic 1. Earth's current remaining coordinates, 1, Solipsistic 1. Earth's current remaining coordinates, 1, there was only one possibility for 20 messages to be refreshed at the same time. Solipsistic was fighting one against many. They are all itinerant immortals, but this guy can defeat 20 itinerant immortals at the same time. I don't believe it. I'm going to Kunlun City to take a look. At the same time, in the spirit territory, a man who looked almost like a human was half lying on the basalt ground. He supported his head with one hand and moved the fingers of his other hand nimbly. If an expert who had cultivated to the level of spiritual observation was here, they would discover that there were 5 spirit threads extending from his 5 fingers, and those 5 spirit threads would then diverge. When he was 20 meters away from this person, the spirit threads had already diverged into a dense number of branches, covering the entire space. Without a doubt, this person was a puppeteer. However, even for puppeteers, no one could control so many puppets at the same time. Qianji, there's news about the person you found. A rogue immortal's voice could be heard from outside the room. This puppeteer was the original Heaven Domain boss that almost killed Lu Chen, the 1000 puppeteer. Hearing this, Qianji immediately kept his left hand and rushed out of the room. Where is he? The person outside the door bowed and answered respectfully, Solipsistic is in the human immortal realm. Right now, he is guarding the last coordinate of his planet and has already won 50 matches in a row. I've already asked my friends in the human world to send us the images. Qianji hurriedly walked to the other room. A shadow stone was floating in the air, projecting the image of the immortal Colosseum in Kunlun City. Looking at the man in black, Qianji's eyes widened. He could not take his eyes off him. Solipsistic. You can actually reach the 7th layer of heaven. Qianji's subordinate said, this person is not in the immortal realm. He might be a rogue immortal. But, someone heard him say that he is not a rogue immortal. Qianji frowned. If he is not in the immortal realm, it means that he has not opened the immortal path. He is not a rogue immortal. How is that possible? Someone heard him say that, he is in the human king realm. Human king realm. Qianji frowned. That's right. Back then, I received an order to kill Solipsistic. This means that someone in the upper echelons does not want him to continue on his path. If that is the case, he should not have survived the heavens tribulation. Qianji's subordinate said. Even if he can't survive the heavens tribulation, shouldn't he be a rogue immortal? No. Lan Feng, you don't understand. That guy is not an ordinary person. Qianji said. His 3 battle pets are all monsters. Especially that white tiger. I almost died in its hands. Qianji shuddered when he thought of the spiritual energy that exploded when Suboriginator swallowed the spiritual cores of the 4 supreme demonic beasts. Those battle pets are foolishly loyal. They might have used some method to protect that guy when he failed the heavens tribulation. Qianji thought. Anyway, it's not surprising that anything happened to that guy. But, he is not even a rogue immortal. Qianji could not help but laugh. When I went to the 6th layer of heaven, I wanted to kill him. But he grew so fast that he reached the peak of the 6th layer of heaven within a few years. He also had a lot of friends. I had no choice but to undergo the heavens tribulation in advance. Damn it. It was the great ominous celestial phenomenon at that time. I couldn't even become a true immortal. But luckily, I am a puppet master and the Hongyu celestial master appreciated me. With some time, I could have killed Solipsistic. But who would have thought that after so many years of being careful, that guy is not even a rogue immortal. Ha ha ha, God is on my side. Lan Feng frowned and said, Qianji, although he is not an itinerant immortal, he is quite powerful. I have never seen such a powerful itinerant immortal other than puppet masters and beast tamers. Qianji snorted. What's the use of being powerful? The upper limit is already sealed. Besides, how many humans are capable of fighting? This was probably the best news that Qianji had heard in so many years. He continued to watch Lu Chen's battle with interest. But as he watched, he realized that something was wrong. 30 rogue immortals. They could not fight at all. In less than 3 minutes, all 30 of them were killed. Qian-ji, this solipsistic seems to be. Lan Feng said with a frown. Qian-ji frowned. How many people want to challenge him now? 127 people. Are there any true immortals? There are 38 true immortals. But the strongest is only a 4-star. Earth is only a technological world. Powerful true immortals are usually not interested. Qian-ji narrowed his eyes. A 4-star immortal might not be able to win. Lan Feng, let our friends talk to him. If 1 is not enough, 2. If 2 is not enough, 3. I don't believe that this guy will be invincible in the 7th layer of heaven. Yes, I will contact them now. Kunlun City, Immortal Arena. Lu Qin held his spear and stood in the middle of the arena. There were only 127 people left out of 183 challengers. Lu Qin narrowed his eyes slightly. Fighting like this was really too slow. Then, he shouted, the remaining 127 people, attack together. Previously, Lu Qin had been fighting against 20 or 30 people at the same time. But these challengers were only rogue immortals. For a powerful true immortal, it was not too difficult. But now, it was different. There were true immortals among the 127 people left. Lu Qin didn't even ask and directly asked everyone to attack together. This has already caused a commotion among the immortals who usually don't smile. Is this guy crazy? He is only a rogue immortal and he wants to challenge 127 people at the same time. There are close to 40 true immortals among them. He is too arrogant. I have been in the 7th layer of heaven for so long and I have never seen someone as arrogant as him. Is this guy really not a true immortal? He killed 50 rogue immortals and his spiritual energy was not disturbed at all. How can there be such a domineering rogue immortal? He seems to have said that he is not a rogue immortal. At this moment, more than 10 true immortals in the spectator stand stood up. One of them shouted at Lu Qin, solipsistic, are you sure you want us to attack together? Don't blame us for bullying you with numbers when you lose. Another true immortal said angrily, so arrogant. I did not sign up, but seeing how arrogant you are, fine, I want to see what you are so arrogant about. Solipsistic, aren't you just a rogue immortal who has not even opened the immortal path? You actually dare to shout at a true immortal. Aren't you afraid that we will gang up on you? Lu Qin looked at that person and snorted, so many people have heard it. Are you afraid that I will deny it? Then, Lu Qin said loudly, I want you to see if the immortal cultivators of earth are the trash that you say they are. I also want to warn some people that if they want to attack earth, they better weigh their own abilities. Saying that the immortal cultivators of earth are trash. Saying that they do not dare to accept the challenge. Fine. I will show you the courage of the people of earth. The rest of you, come at me as many as you can. Even if all of you come at me together, I am solipsistic. I will take all of you. Chapter 1250. A mere loose immortal dares to publicly humiliate a true immortal. You think you're invincible just because you killed a few loose immortals. Loose immortals are nothing but dogs in this lord's residence. Today this lord will definitely kill you on the spot. How much background can a planet with 20 coordinates have? This immortal will kill you like slaughtering a dog. Figures directly rush out from the spectator stand, the number of people actually exceeded 127. That is to say, there are still many people who temporarily joined the ranks of challengers. Li Shang sees this scene and his heart is burning with anxiety. Isn't Chen a bit too reckless? It's already hard to imagine that he had to deal with 183 challengers, but he actually angered others. Lu Yi is currently bandaging Li Shang's broken arm. Senior Li Shang, don't be angry. I will temporarily bandage your injury for you. After we return, I will refine 2 immortal body regeneration pills. you should be able to recover. You are an immortal medicine master? Li Shang asks in astonishment. He knows that Lu Yi is an alchemist, but he didn't know that her level is so high. In the immortal domain, as long as it is an immortal medicine master, which immortal master doesn't want to snatch them? Even if they seek refuge with a venerable immortal, they will immediately be kept. Immortal battles are frequent, secret realms are dangerous, immortal medicine masters kill people for their goods, a necessity for traveling home. Lu Yi smiles faintly. I also just advanced to immortal medicine master not long ago. Lu Yi doesn't say much about her own matters, instead she helps Lu Chen explain. Senior Li Shang, boss wants to avenge Fei Jiang and the others, to restore Earth's name. Fei Jiang, Lu Yi lowers her head and says while choking with sobs, Little Green is incompetent, Fei Jiang, Gong Ming, Zhu Yao, the three seniors have already fallen. Li Shang looks at the three people lying on the side of the field. They have been together in the seventh layer of heaven for several decades, supporting each other and enduring humiliation to save Earth. In the end, Fei Jiang and the others are still one step ahead. Thinking of this, Li Shang can't help but cry bitterly. On the stage, Lu Chen is looking at Li Shang and the others in a daze. He looks on as Lu Yi takes out a white cloth and covers the three people. His heart feels like a knife is twisting. Solipsistic, did you see that? That is the fate of you earthlings. I only hate the fact that I only killed one person earlier. I really should have killed all of you ants, a certain true immortal said coldly. Solipsistic, you said you wanted to challenge all of us. Today is the day you die. How dare you offend your superiors and provoke a true immortal? Your crime is unforgivable. Today, I will kill all of you Earth's individual immortals. Lu Chen turned his head to look at the more than 100 opponents on the stage. Dark green mist faintly appeared in his eyes. I'll say it again. I'm not a loose immortal. I don't care if you're a true immortal or a loose immortal. Today, all who invade my planet will die. Those who harm my compatriots, die. Those who hurt my companions, die. As soon as Lu Chen's voice fell, a violent wave of spiritual energy instantly exploded in the field. Behind Lu Chen, two phantoms that were hundreds of meters long suddenly appeared. One of them was dignified and mighty, while the other had a ferocious expression. The phantoms disappeared in a flash. However, when the crowd saw the two phantoms, they were all shocked. Am I seeing things? Are those the phantoms of Heaven God Hunyuan and Chaos Heavenly Demon? This kid has already reached the 8th level of the 9 transformations of the Celestial Demon. The 9 transformations of the Celestial Demon is the #1 forbidden technique of the Jyotian. It has long been broken up and left in various parts of the Jyotian. He has actually reached the 8th level. Be careful. I heard that although this guy has not opened the path of immortality, he has several life-reversing celestial demon sets. At this moment, another 3 true immortals appeared in a flash and directly entered the immortal battle arena. When they saw these 3 people, the crowd of challengers widened their eyes. These 3 people were all well-known figures among the true immortals of the human race. When some of the individual immortals saw these 3 people, they hurriedly bowed. Immortal Master Shoagu, Immortal Master Yun Ba, and Immortal Master Yun Ke. The surrounding challengers all stood behind these 3 people. The originally leaderless crowd of more than 100 people seemed to have found their leader. Yi Fan looked nervously at the arena and hurriedly asked Li Shang, Senior Li Shang, who are these 3 people that just came? The others seemed to be very afraid of them. Li Shang's expression became even more nervous. He frowned and said in a hurried tone, Why are the 3 of them here? These 3 people are famous true immortals in Kunlun City. Yunk, 7 Tribulation True Immortal, current immortal rank, 8 stars. Battle record, 17 wins in 19 battles. Yunba, 8 Tribulation True Immortal, current immortal rank, 8 stars. Battle record, 16 wins in 17 battles. Shuo Gu, 8 Tribulation True Immortal, current immortal rank, 8 stars. Battle record, 22 wins in 22 battles. When Yi Fan heard this, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. When he and Jiu challenged true immortals before, they each fought 9 battles. Although they won all their battles, their opponent's strength was only around 3 stars and their tribulations were not high. After all, on a planet like Earth, high-level true immortals were not interested. Originally, the Dean's opponents were at most 4 stars. Although the Dean fought one against many, Yi Fan was still very confident in the Dean's ability. However, when these 3 powerful people appeared, the situation suddenly changed. All 3 of them were 8 stars true immortals. This level was not common in Kunlun City. At this time, the 3 powerful people, among the 150 challengers, there were 50 true immortals. The Dean challenging so many powerful people had completely exceeded everyone's expectations. Lu Chen also noticed these 3 powerful people. The feeling they gave off was completely different from the other true immortals. After the baptism of more than 500 worlds, Lu Chen had also helped the other worlds to resist the demonic beasts many times. He more or less understood the strength of a true immortal. The strength of these 3 people should be on par with the Black God. Back then, Tian Rui said that Lu Chen had to be at least a 7 stars true immortal to be qualified to fight the Black God Wuxichi. However, in reality, Wuxichi's strength was definitely higher than that. 3 black gods, plus so many true immortals and loose immortals. This time, it would not be so easy. At this time, the youngest man of the 3 looked at Lu Chen indifferently. Solipsistic, you seemed very arrogant just now. Why did you stop talking when you saw me, Yunk? Another person sneered. You kept saying that you were a human king. At first, I did not believe it. In the end, a friend confirmed this possibility for me. In that case, you, a mortal, actually dared to enter the immortal region. How bold. The last one to speak was the strongest of the 3, Shuo Gu. He narrowed his eyes slightly, revealing a cold light as he said loudly. Just now, you said that 3 kinds of people must die. Then I will tell you the reason why you must die. Gods and demons defy fate. The Jiutian will not tolerate it. You, solipsistic, must die. Mortal slays immortals, defying the heavenly Tao. You, solipsistic, must die. The weak are prey to the strong. You are the weak. You, solipsistic, your planet, your companions, must die. Shuo Gu's voice was like a bell, resounding throughout the entire immortal arena. It carried an undefiable heavenly might, shocking everyone. Lu Chen looked at the 3 people, then looked at the many challengers behind them. Suddenly, he lowered his head. Ha 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 ha. Lu Chen's laughter suddenly came from the immortal arena. His voice went from soft to loud, until it became crazy. Suddenly, the laughter stopped abruptly. Lu Chen raised his head slightly. Lu Chen's eyes were red. So what if you are immortal? So what if you are Jiutian? So what if you are the rules? So what if you are the heavenly Tao? Lu Chen gently stroked the body of the god-slaying spear. As Lu Chen's palm swept across the black god-slaying spear, the body of the spear turned dark red, as if there was lava rolling inside the spear. The body of the spear also ignited with raging flames. Gods and demons are merciless. I am the god and demon. Heaven and earth have no Tao. I am the Tao. Chapter 1251. How arrogant! Kill him! Shuo Gu roared, and a group of itinerant immortals and true immortals rushed toward Lu Chen. Not far away, a figure flashed to Li Shang's side. Ling Long had finally found Lu Chen's fellow tribesmen, and she saw this scene. She did not have time to greet them, and her heart was in her throat. Yunk, Yunba, Shuo Gu. Why are they here to fight for the coordinates? At this moment, Lu Chen's body exploded with a burst of terrifying spiritual energy, and he was in his best state. God of War possession, devil transformation, dragon blood boiling. Dragon god form. Celestial demonic might. Emptiness of gods and demons arm. Celestial demonic heavenly eyes. Celestial demonic lotus heart, inner demon. Celestial demonic body. At this moment, Lu Chen was like a raging god of war, facing many itinerant immortals and true immortals alone. Tiger descends the mountain. Sacred lotus sword heart. Tiger descends the mountain. Fire suppression. Void attack, 9 dragons destroy the world. A series of skills collided with everyone's skills, and the arena exploded. This guy's attack is 2. Divine Phoenix 9 screens. In front of an itinerant immortal, a tangible shield opened up like a peacock spreading its tail. This was a defensive treasure, and its defensive power was quite good. However, 4 or 5 powerful spear auras hit the 9 screens directly. Boom! 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 The 9 screens shattered instantly, and the itinerant immortal was hit by the spear auras. His left arm was directly cut off, and his whole body flew backward, slamming into the high wall at the edge of the arena. Even some true immortals were unlucky enough to be hit, and they immediately became dispirited. With Lu Chen's current attributes, his attack power was extremely shocking, and ordinary defenses could not block it at all. In an instant, at least half of the dozens of itinerant immortals here were hit by Lu Chen's fierce attacks, and they were seriously injured. Itinerant immortals with low tribulations could only be killed in an instant by Lu Chen. Is this guy really a human king? In the spectator seats, the true immortals had already stood up involuntarily. He killed itinerant immortals like chickens. Let alone loose immortals, even true immortals can't block his attacks. What kind of attack is this? Why is it so powerful? Before his voice fell, Lu Chen's figure was like a ghost on the battlefield. He shouted, Buddha body avatar. Battle soul. Suddenly, 3 more, solipsistic, appeared on the battlefield, and the entire battlefield became even darker. Guyan slowly woke up. The moment he opened his eyes, he saw the terrifying battle on the battlefield. He frowned and glanced at the golden chariot beside him. Cough, cough, cough. Old Jean, what's going on? Jean 1 stared intently at the battlefield. It was Chen, who accepted everyone's challenge, this. How many coordinates do we have left? 1. It's in his hands. This kid is crazy. Guyan's mind spun rapidly, but he still couldn't figure it out even after a long time. At this moment, it just so happened that one of his Buddha avatars was heavily injured by Skylark's immortal technique. Guyan's mind trembled violently, and coupled with the fact that he had yet to recover from his injuries, he fainted again. At this time, Lu Chen's inner demon state had lasted for a long time, but he did not exit the inner demon state. Slaughter. Lu Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. All of you will be buried with my clansmen. Lu Chen roared and quickly killed a true immortal with the swift shadow spear. The swift shadow spear's momentum did not decrease. At the same time, Lu Chen followed up with another spear, killing another person. Solipsistic, die for me. Yunk roared, immortal technique, martial path universe, 5 stars piercing the sun. Yunk's main cultivation seemed to be the martial path's killing god assassin. His figure instantly disappeared and flickered several times, leaving behind 5 afterimages beside Lu Chen. When the last afterimage was formed, the 5 afterimages quickly gathered toward the center. The moment they gathered, the killing move would take effect. Facing Yunk's strange technique, Lu Chen directly defended. Void Guard. At this time, a black shadow flashed behind Lu Chen. The dagger in Yunk's hand shone with a cold light. He and the dagger became one, turning into a white light that shot toward Lu Chen's eyes. I will first destroy your demon god heavenly eyes. Let's see how you dodge. Lu Chen coldly snorted, with just you. Reverse soul roaming dragon. The power of Yunq's move was extremely terrifying. Assassins were like this. They were agile and waited for an opportunity to move. Once he found an opportunity, his attack would be fatal. However, Lu Chen's anonymous roaming dragon directly swung away Yunq's sneak attack. The roaming dragon was anonymous. Blocking was only the prelude. Counterattacking was the essence. After blocking the 5 stars piercing the sun, Lu Chen shot his spear at Yunq. You actually. Yunq's eyes widened. He hurriedly used his technique, substitute puppet. Lu Chen's spear pierced through a puppet. He blamed himself for being careless. This Yunq was not only a killing god assassin, but he also cultivated the puppet technique. Sure enough, an 8-star true immortal was not so easy to kill. When did he appear behind the Dean? Yi Fan did not see Yunq's movements clearly. It was as if this person had appeared behind the Dean out of thin air. Could it be that those 5 illusions were just a feint? The purpose was to attract the enemy's attention, and then he took the opportunity to hide and suddenly appeared. On the side, Ling Long shook her head. Yunq's 5 stars piercing the sun was not a feint. The attack of those 5 illusions was a kind of real attack that made use of the disorder of time and space. If Nameless had not blocked the illusion's attack just now, the consequences would have been unimaginable. However, if the illusions were blocked or dodged, in the end, the attack would be transferred to the final move, piercing the sun. If it were not for Nameless reverse soul roaming dragon, if it were any other technique, I'm afraid he would have been hit. That guy's every decision during the battle could have put himself in danger if he had made a slight mistake. Yi Fan frowned. It turned out that the Dean's battle was not as simple as it seemed. Senior, you are. After a while, Yi Fan seemed to remember something and asked the woman beside him. Ling Long was stunned. Yes, the people here were either that guy's clansmen or his friends. Why was she standing here? I'm his friend, Ling Long said somewhat unnaturally. Yi Fan could not help but be stunned. As expected of the Dean. Not long after coming to the 7th heaven, he had another beautiful friend by his side. Looking at the way this beauty looked at the Dean, it was somewhat similar to Senior Jiu's. They should not be simple friends. The Dean was indeed worthy of the title of Love Saint. However, Yi Fan did not continue to think about it. After all, it was not the time to care about these things. As the inner demon time continued, Lu Chen's means became more and more terrifying. He directly released Furball, Little Beast, and Originator to deal with the wounded. Lu Chen's eyes were blood red, and he shouted in a low voice, "Don't leave anyone alive." "Ha ha ha, Dad, you finally remembered us." Little Beast went all out as soon as it appeared. "Okay. Don't worry, Dad, none of you can escape." Squeak, 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 squeak. Furball seemed to be particularly interested in eating immortals and could not wait to pounce on a seriously injured genuine immortal. In less than 10 minutes, there were countless casualties on the battlefield. All the loose immortals were killed. After being taken care of by Furball and Little Beast, they died without a complete corpse. Most of the genuine immortals also died under Lu Chen's rapid shadow spear. The remaining 20 or so genuine immortals looked at Lu Chen as if he was a monster. Seeing Lu Chen walk over, they could not help but retreat step by step. Lu Chen finally got rid of the inner demon time. However, it took time to get rid of the inner demon time. Getting rid of it now was only to ensure that his demonic nature would not continue to grow. Lu Chen coldly looked at the enemies in front of him and said in a cold voice, "What? Are you afraid? I said, don't leave anyone alive." He twirled his spear in his hand and said with a smile, "If you want to live, there is only one way, and that is, to kill me. Chapter 1252. Now, Lu Chen was not a kind person. The group of immortals who had been flaunting their prowess earlier had been reduced to just over 20. Not only that, but there were also screams coming from the surroundings. That was the result of little furball eating. Sky-devouring god-eater rat. He has sky-devouring god-eater rats. Lu Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. He held the long spear in his hand and became one with it. God-slaying spear, rapid shadow spear. It's the rapid shadow spear again. These immortals had seen the power of the rapid shadow spear. Together with Lu Chen's ridiculous attributes, Lu Chen could increase the rapid shadow spear to 6 spears, which was extremely fast and almost indestructible. Everyone hurriedly scattered, but their speed was no match for the rapid shadow spear. In the blink of an eye, the god-slaying spear had killed a few more people. At this point, people had realized that only Yunk, Yunba, and Shoagu, the 3 8-star immortals, could fight with solipsistic. The other immortals were no different from individual immortals to solipsistic. How can a human king have such terrifying strength? Based on his strength, he must have broken through the upper limit of the human king. Could it be that he opened the path of immortality? I know about those people from Earth. It has only been 6 years since they came to the 7th heaven. Just the attributes of the reward for successfully passing the tribulation are already very terrifying for ordinary people. If he is really a human king, how did he not only make up for such a huge gap in strength in such a short period of time, but also directly crush true immortals below 8 stars? No matter what the reason is, not only did that guy guard the last coordinate, but he also snatched the coordinates of more than 10 other planets. He's too domineering. Don't worry, Shoagu and the other 2 have not done their best. If they kill solipsistic, those individual immortals on Earth will not be able to guard the coordinates. 10 minutes later, Lu Chen killed all the remaining immortals along the way. Apart from Shoagu and the other 2, the other immortals were at most 4-star. 2 years ago, Lu Chen could already kill Black Ultimate God. Now, his creation bloodline had been upgraded to Stage 2, Level 1. Combined with the 8 Celestial Demon transformation, his strength had greatly increased. Killing these low-level true immortals was as easy as flipping his hand. Li Shang couldn't help but shake his head. Chen is really too strong. Yi Fan shook his head. I've been bitterly cultivating in the astral sky illusion array for 30 years. I originally thought that I had shortened the gap between me and the principal, but who would have thought that the gap between us would only grow wider and wider? It had always been Yi Fan who had left others far behind, but only when he was compared to the dean could Yi Fan experience the feeling of being left in the dust. Fortunately, Ling Long said something fair. You're his disciple, right? You don't have to belittle yourself. He's been training in the cultivation method testing field for almost 50 years. 50 years? Really? Yes, the cultivation method Spirit Pagoda is different from the astral sky illusion array you mentioned. The cultivation method Spirit Pagoda can only be used to comprehend cultivation methods. However, comprehending cultivation methods is also a part of cultivation, so you're not too bad. Yi Fan finally heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. Otherwise, the director would say that I was slacking off. At the same time, on the battlefield, the ground had been stained with blood. 150 individual immortals and genuine immortals were now lying in pools of blood. Little Beast and Little Furball were busy eating. The spiritual nucleus of the human race was located in the lower abdomen. Little Beast pierced the lower abdomen of the injured with its claws, took out the spiritual nucleus, and swallowed it directly. Little Furball was not picky. Anyway, it was fine as long as it could eat the bones and the meat. Only Little Originator was a little bored. It would not swallow these things, but Big Brother had ordered it not to leave anyone alive. It was only responsible for the last hit. Even these battle-hardened immortals who had experienced hundreds of battles couldn't help but feel their hearts skip a beat upon seeing this scene. This immortal Colosseum is about to become a place of slaughter. Anyone who challenges will be killed directly. Without a 9-star or a higher level, who will dare to attack Earth in the future? Sure enough, no one was left alive on the battlefield. The immortal Colosseum had been dyed red with blood, but there were still 3 people left on the battlefield. At this time, Lu Chen had regained consciousness. The crazy killing intent in his eyes gradually faded away. He looked around indifferently, but did not stop Little Beast and the others from eating. Even if he was sober, his decision would not change. Then, Lu Chen turned to Shuagu and the other 2 and said coldly, "I'll give you a chance to live. I'll spare your life if you tell me who the friend you were talking about is." Yunba had said before that his friend had confirmed that Lu Chen was not an immortal. Who knew that such an unintentional sentence would be remembered by Lu Chen? Shuagu narrowed his eyes slightly. What a joke. Spare our lives? You. Lu Chen was not in a hurry to attack. He paced in front of the 3 and said, "When I said that I was in the human king realm, most of them did not take it seriously. So I'm very curious. Who is your friend? Why are you so sure that I'm in the human king realm?" In the 7th heaven, there were only a few people who knew that Lu Chen was not an immortal. Even Lu Chen could not think of anyone who knew an 8-star true immortal. It was either a friend of Ling Long or a friend of the old man who registered on the immortal bestowment platform. There was also another possibility. When Lu Chen was crossing the tribulation in the Tower of Babel, there was a voice that sounded like a senior immortal. No one should know better than that person about Lu Chen's level. Since these 3 people were on the stage, it was most likely that their friend was also Lu Chen's enemy. It was because of this that Lu Chen was so interested in this matter. "You don't deserve to know our friend." Shuagu snorted. "Solipsistic, don't think that you are qualified to fight with us just because you killed some rotten fish and shrimps." Lu Chen frowned slightly. It seemed that these 3 people did not want to be honest with him. "I have already given you a chance, but you did not want to say it. But it's okay, even if you don't say it, I can still find out." Lu Chen's killing intent reappeared in his eyes. "Since you are no longer useful, I don't need to keep you anymore." With that, Lu Chen held the god-slaying spear in one hand. When Ling Long saw Lu Chen raise his hand, she knew that something was wrong. She quickly set up a formation to surround Li Shang, Yi Fan, and the others. Hiss. "Immortal Master, what are you doing?" Li Shang looked at Ling Long in surprise. Ling Long waited until she finished setting up the defensive formation before answering. "Nameless next move is too destructive. You may be affected, and I can't protect all of you, so I set up a defensive formation first." Li Shang said, "God-slaying spear. The rapid shadow spear and reverse soul roaming dragon shouldn't be that powerful. You actually need to set up a defensive formation to resist the aftermath." Ling Long shook her head. "It's not those 2 moves." At this moment, the 3 true immortals attacked at the same time. Immortal Technique, Martial Path Universe, 7 stars Destruction. Immortal Technique, Extreme Heaven Dharma, Buddha Demon Suppression Seal. Solipsistic, Go to Hell. Immortal Technique, for Extreme Sword Art, Green Dragon Extreme Sword. The 3 great immortal techniques were activated at the same time. The defensive formation around the entire immortal arena was already on the verge of collapse. This is the famous immortal technique of Shuagu and the others. They actually used it at the same time. That solipsistic will definitely die. Lu Chen snorted coldly. His left Taishu arm held the sword, and his eyes were cold. "Good." Immediately, Lu Chen roared. A pillar of fire shot up into the sky, as if it was going to cover the entire immortal arena and shoot straight into the clouds. Void attack, Void God slaying spear, Earth fire heaven's fury spear. Chapter 1253. Earth fire soared into the sky as one. 3 billion spiritual energy burned and boiled. Heaven and earth turned into this terrifying spear. At this moment, Lu Chen's Heaven's Wrath Spear seemed to be different from the one Lu Chen used before. The secret of the Heaven's Wrath Spear was to not control the spiritual energy, but to let the spiritual energy surge out crazily. However, this time, Lu Chen used this palm after a long time in the inner demon state. The inner demon made people lose their minds and become crazier. At this time, although Lu Chen could control his emotions, after using the Heaven's Wrath Spear, he immediately activated the Berserk state again. In the Berserk state, the power of the Heaven's Wrath Spear became even more terrifying. The flames rushed to the sky. "Break for me!" Lu Chen shouted angrily. His entire body chased down from mid-air with the force of 10,000 kilograms. Facing such a terrifying spear, Shoagu and the other two widened their eyes. This is that guy's real strength? The Heaven's Wrath Spear is too exaggerated. This is not the combat power of a mortal. What level of skill is the God-slaying spear? At this time, they did not have much time left. The three of them hurriedly gave up on attacking and defended with all their strength. Buddha's Golden Body Protection. Demon Subduing Kasaya. Death Golden Body. Spiritual Energy Protection. Yunba directly used 4 defensive skills. Magical Treasure. The other two players also activated every defensive skill they had at their disposal, hoping to block this attack. In an instant, Lu Chen had turned into a black stream of light and crashed into the ground. With a loud bang, the ground directly exploded. The special material of the ground collapsed under the huge impact. The walls of the entire immortal arena collapsed, and the spectator seats sank into the ground. Waves of spiritual energy, each higher than the previous, turned into rings of energy, and shook from the center of the battlefield at an extremely fast speed. They hit the surrounding defensive shields and made a loud bang. What a strong aftershock. This skill is probably above the immortal technique. Is this really a battle between immortals? I'm afraid the battle between Sengoku is just like this. After more than 10 rings of spiritual energy hit the defensive array set up by Ling Long, Li Shang and the others finally understood. If the woman hadn't set up a defensive formation in advance, how could they have withstood the terrifying aftermath of this spiritual power? Ling Long frowned as she looked at the person on the battlefield. Nameless Heaven's Wrath Spear was even more terrifying than the one she had seen before. If Nameless had fought against Black Extinction God, she would have been able to defeat Firmament Galaxy without the help of others. This fellow's improvement speed is seriously too fast. His combat ability has at least reached the level of a 9-star true immortal. He still remembered the first time they had met 6 years ago. That silly boy had run up to him and anxiously asked about the information card. In the blink of an eye, 6 years had passed, and he had already surpassed his own battle prowess. Ling Long was a 9 tribulation true celestial with great potential and excellent aptitude. Logically speaking, no one should have a faster cultivation speed than her. However, that kid had created a miracle in just 6 years with the body of a human king. Compared to this lad, his 9 tribulations true immortal cultivation was nothing at all. At this moment, Yi Fan said faintly, "Dean, you're indeed someone who survived a 12th level heavenly tribulation. You're too strong, what? What level of heavenly tribulation?" Ling Long looked at Yi Fan in shock. "A 12th level heavenly tribulation," Yi Fan said matter-of-factly. Everyone in the 6 heavens knew about this. It was a super heavenly tribulation, and it lasted for several days. However, to Ling Long, this was no different from a bolt from the blue. He's going through a 12th level super heavenly tribulation. A 12th level heavenly tribulation is a super heavenly tribulation. It's not used for tribulations, it's used to kill people. Ling Long said in horror. Ling Long's understanding of Jiutian was incomparable to that of ordinary people. She had seen through the essence of a 12th level heavenly tribulation. It's used to kill people. Ling Long stared blankly at the arena. Rocks were flying everywhere in the immortal battle arena, and the ground was deeply sunken. Those rocks seemed to be suspended in the air, filling the entire space. Nameless and the other three had disappeared without a trace in this chaotic world. They must have been pierced through the ground. Suddenly, Ling Long had an indescribable feeling in her heart. All along, as long as tribulations were mentioned, her identity as a 9-tribulation true immortal was enough to make most people revere her. However, her identity as a 9-tribulation true immortal was like child's play in front of this human king. A first-level heavenly tribulation was 9 times more powerful than a 9th-level heavenly tribulation. A 12th-level heavenly tribulation was more than 700 times more powerful than a 9th-level heavenly tribulation. However, this guy actually survived a 12th-level heavenly tribulation. It was clear how terrifying his strength was. Immortal? Even in front of this mortal, they had to tremble. Ling Long took a deep breath and said blankly, "He's probably the #1 human king of all time." Wrong. Yi Fan suddenly said mercilessly, "He's the #1 king of savages. My dean is a savage." Senior, as the dean's female friend, no, as the dean's friend, how could you not know this? Alright, Ling Long's mind was a little messy now. The immortal battle arena had become an abyss, and the arena sunk deep into the ground. Everyone wanted to go up and see the situation, but considering that Solipsistic had said that anyone who went up would die, they could only suppress their curiosity and stand up one by one, anxiously waiting for the result. Not long after, a black figure darted out. "Triple door. I'm all ears," Lu Chen said in a low voice. 3 figures directly passed through the triple door and were pulled up by him. Lu Chen threw the 3 to the side, and they fell to the ground like mud, motionless. "Furball, little beast, I'll leave them to you," Lu Chen said coldly. "Thank you, Dad. Love you." Little beast darted to the front of the 3. "Furball, don't fight with me. It's the same no matter what you eat. This spirit core is very important to me." Squeak, 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 squeak. Furball expressed its indignation. After all, it had never eaten an 8-star delicacy. It said that it had to eat a few mouthfuls first. Lu Chen had always pretended not to see the 2 little fellows fighting over the spirit core. If there was no other way, they could just fight. Lu Chen was a little tired, but he was not completely exhausted. He opened his blood demon bone wings, and the void god-slaying spear hung by his side. Lu Chen looked around. He was surrounded by a group of immortals. However, at this moment, the group of immortals did not dare to look directly at Lu Chen. At this moment, the announcement was refreshed. Solipsistic 1. Earth's current remaining coordinates. 1. This announcement seemed to have been unchanged for thousands of years. It had been refreshed countless times. However, the people were no longer paying attention to this announcement. They were paying attention to another announcement. Solipsistic, immortal grade, none, cave abode, none, immortal battle record, 72 battles, 72 wins, current coordinates, 92. With this announcement, everyone knew that if they wanted to seize the last coordinates of Earth, unless they killed Solipsistic, they would have to defeat him at least 92 times. Lu Chen looked at the surrounding immortals indifferently and said loudly, "Is there anyone else who wants to snatch Earth's coordinates?" There was a long silence. Not only was there silence, the immortals did not dare to look at Lu Chen's blood-red eyes. In the Guardian battle, there were a total of 204 challengers, including the new challengers. There were 72 true immortals, including 3 8-star true immortals, and 132 itinerant immortals. All 204 immortals were killed. Moreover, they died without a complete corpse. Chapter 1254. Lu Chen waited for a while, but no one spoke, so he said in a deep voice, "If you want to challenge me, I'll be there any time." After that, Lu Chen shouted to Little Beast and the others, "Let's go." Lu Chen returned to Li Shang and the others. He looked at their injuries, then at the three covered in white cloth, and finally at Ling Long. "You're back." "Yes." Lu Chen nodded, "Can you help?" Ling Long nodded, and together with Lu Chen, they moved everyone to the 9-star grotto heaven. Fei Jiang, Gong Ming, Zhu Yao, and the three loose immortals had already fallen. Even Little Green was powerless to save them. Li Shang, Jin Luan, Gu Yan, and the others were still alive, but they were seriously injured and needed to rest. Even though they were seriously injured, everyone was gathered in front of the herb garden. Everyone stood in front of the corpses of Fei Jiang and the other two. A breeze blew past, gently blowing their hair, drying the tears in their eyes, and gently caressing Fei Jiang and the others' sleeves. "Fei Jiang, Gong Ming, Zhu Yao. You did not die in vain." Li Shang said in a trembling voice, "We defended our homeland." After saying that, everyone's tears fell like rain. They had defended their homeland for decades, their comrades who had gone through fire and water, suffered humiliation, endured humiliation, and groped in the darkness. Just when they saw the light, they left. How could they not feel heartache? Jin Luan said in a trembling voice, "It's a pity you didn't see Chen or killing everyone in the immortal arena. You didn't see him intimidating everyone, and you didn't see him telling everyone that Earth's cultivators are all good." Gu Yan wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes. "My good brother, before the immortal arena, we all agreed that if anyone died in the immortal arena, they would not be sent back to Earth, but be buried in front of the Qin garden, where we fought together." Lu Chen did not speak, but his eyes were red. Jin Luan patted Lu Chen's shoulder. "Chen, go and say a few words to Fei Jiang, Gong Ming, and Zhu Yao. They must want to hear you talk to them." Lu Chen nodded and took a step forward. "Flying General, Gong Ming, Senior Zhu Yao, we have defended Earth. I promise the three of you that as long as I'm alive, I will never let Earth be sacrificed. I will definitely make the murderer of the three seniors pay with his blood." The other loose immortals had already finished digging their graves, and everyone quickly buried the three of them. A stele was erected, a toast was made, and a kowtow was made. Henceforth, the three loose immortals of Earth slept eternally in the Qin garden. Li Shang and the others were resting, but Jiu Er still hadn't woken up. Little Green said that Jiu Er's body was fine, but he didn't know why she hadn't woken up. Ling Long checked on Jiu Er's condition and pulled Lu Chen outside the 9-star grotto heaven. She said, "Jiu Er not only collected the dark erosion set but also controlled the dark erosion soul." Lu Chen nodded. "Yeah." Ling Long heaved a sigh of relief. "Oh, I knew it. Then there's nothing to worry about." "Why?" Lu Chen asked. Ling Long explained, "In the ancient books, there are a total of 3 times when the dark erosion set appeared. All of them were due to the dark erosion soul devouring the owner. However, my family records the 4th time the dark erosion set appeared. At that time, the owner controlled the dark erosion soul. According to the records, if the owner controls the timely erosion soul, then it's not a bad thing for the owner to run out of spiritual power." Lu Chen frowned as he listened. Ling Long continued, "Every time the owner of the timely erosion set runs out of spiritual power, out of survival instinct, they will draw spiritual power from the dark erosion set. For the owner, this is an increase in strength. This is the special cultivation method of the dark erosion set. The closer to death, the more obvious the effect." Lu Chen was surprised. "I've never heard of this cultivation method." However, if Jiu Er was fine, Lu Chen finally heaved a sigh of relief. "By the way, do you know what happened to the owner of the dark erosion set? If he mastered this method, he should be very strong. Of course he died. There's always someone better. The Dark Erosion set is only 10th on the Jyotian Ultimate set list. Although it's very strong, it's not the strongest. That's just the set. There are some independent artifacts that are also very powerful. Some are even stronger than the set. What about my God and Demon Fate Breaker? Lu Chen asked. Ling Long rolled her eyes at Lu Chen. The God and Demon Fate Breaker are not on the list. Lu Chen shook his head. He hadn't been on the list for a long time. Whether it was the level ranking, the pet ranking, or the set ranking, none of them seemed to have anything to do with him. They didn't even want to play with him. At that moment, Yi Fan limped out. Dean. Lu Chen was also very happy to see Yi Fan. Too many things had happened before, so they hadn't had much time to talk. Now, they finally had time. Yi Fan. Lu Chen patted Yi Fan's shoulder hard. Good boy, you transcended the tribulation in 6 years. Hee, the key is that you left early, so we made it in time. Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. Then, when he heard Yi Fan talk about the great opportunity of the 6th heaven, his expression became more and more ferocious. Damn, so all the good things come when I leave. Dean, I think it's because you ate the heavenly tribulation. That's why it was so easy for us to transcend the tribulation. Lu Chen's face turned green and white. He had been taken advantage of for no reason. Hey, Dean, why did your heavenly tribulation take so long? Back then, I successfully transcended the tribulation in 12 hours. Lu Chen's face darkened. I transcended it 3 times. How can it be short? 3 times, all at the 12th level. Yeah. Lu Chen finally saw someone familiar and could vent his frustrations. To be precise, it was 4 times. The last 2 times, it even gave me 2 elemental ones. The 4th time, it gave me 5 elemental ones. I really couldn't take it anymore. Luckily, something seemed to have happened to the heavenly tower and I managed to escape. Yi Fan nodded. Oh, no wonder you're called the King of Savages. That is to say, you succeeded in transcending it 3 times. The 4th time, you ran away, so it can't be considered a success or a failure. In the end, you didn't become an immortal. Lu Chen nodded. That should be the case. Sigh, it's quite tragic anyway. The two of them chatted casually. Ling Long's expression gradually turned strange. The 12th level of the heavenly tribulation was one thing, but 3 times. No, 4 times. That was more than quite tragic. It was absolutely tragic. It was a miracle that this guy was still alive. But this guy didn't think much of it. His disciple must be sick in the head. After hearing such a terrifying thing, he didn't have much of a reaction. He didn't have any doubts at all. Yi Fan, what tribulation are you at now? Lu Chen asked. Oh, I'm at the 10th tribulation. I learned from you that I didn't break my mortal bonds, so my heavenly tribulation is more fierce. But it's definitely not as exaggerated as the 12th level. And I encountered a heavenly tribulation that only appears once in 1,000 years. The power of the heavenly tribulation was reduced, so it wasn't too difficult. Oh, that's good. Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief. Ling Long frowned as she listened to the conversation between the master and disciple. Her mind was buzzing, 10th level of heavenly tribulation. That's good. After not seeing each other for a long time, the two of them had a lot to talk about. Dean, when I tell others that I'm at the 9 tribulations, it's too troublesome to explain. Lu Chen felt the same way. Yeah, it's annoying to say it like that. When others say that I'm an itinerant immortal, I don't explain most of the time. Oh right, Dean. Senior Li Shang said not to call me Dean in the 7th heaven, but Master. Then I'll call you Master from now on. It doesn't matter. You can call me whatever you want. Ling Long really couldn't stop listening to the conversation between the master and disciple. She could only choose to walk away silently. Chapter 1255. Under Little Green's care, the Earth's itinerant immortals recovered quickly. After a week, everyone had recovered about 70 to 80%. Jiao had not recovered yet, but Little Green said that her body was fine. Plus, Ling Long also said that Jiao's strength was increasing, so Lu Chen was relieved. Lu Chen personally cooked a sumptuous lunch for everyone. Lu Chen introduced Ling Long to everyone. She was a friend who had traveled with him from the Myriad World Maze. When he mentioned the Myriad World Maze, Ling Long secretly glanced at Lu Chen, as if she wanted to say something but stopped. Lu Chen's heart was pounding. This woman wouldn't know anything, right, but no matter what, Lu Chen was still very grateful to her. Ling Long was not as cold as other perfected immortals. Those 2 years in the Myriad World Maze were probably the most desperate years for Lu Chen. Countless failures had left him with no hope. Plus, time was tight. That kind of pressure was unimaginable. If not for Ling Long, he might have gone crazy long ago. Although she was a true immortal, especially after practicing the ice heart art, she would quickly become cold and aloof, but Lu Chen had already regarded her as a friend. Everyone was also very friendly to Ling Long. Ling Long wondered if she was in the seventh heaven. She felt like she had returned to the past when she ate with her family. Oh, right. Chen, you still have a lot of rewards from this immortal battle. You need to go to the immortal bestowment platform to collect them. Those itinerant immortals without coordinates had to pawn items of equivalent value to compete for the coordinates. Since you won, those items are yours. Lu Chen nodded. He already knew about this, but Li Shang and the rest had not recovered. Jiao had not woken up, so he was not in the mood to collect them. Chen, what's your record in the immortal battle? Jin Luan asked. 72 wins, Lu Chen answered. Jin Luan nudged Gu Yan, who was beside her, with a proud expression. 72 wins. Awesome. Gu Yan rolled his eyes at Jin Luan. Look at how proud you are. It's not even yours. I'm happy to see it too. Jin Luan chuckled. If it weren't for the fact that only true immortals can participate in the immortal battles, Chen's battle record would be 200 victories. Lu Chen asked curiously, what's the use of this record? Oh, it's like this. The calculation of battle records is very strict. For example, only true immortals participating in the immortal battles are counted as battle records. If there is a difference of 2 stars or more, the higher level side's victory will not be counted as battle records, but the lower level side's defeat will be counted as battle records. Therefore, battle records in the immortal battles are a symbol of strength. The better your battle record, the more you'll be qualified to challenge those of a higher level, participate in the exploration of the immortal realm, and participate in the auction of treasures. In short, the better your battle record, the more activities you can participate in the seventh heaven, and no one will dare to provoke you. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Senior Golden Luan, I just heard you say that in the immortal duel, as long as you lose, regardless of whether you are an itinerant immortal or a few stars lower, it will be counted as a loss. Then, other people don't need a victory, but can still count as a loss. Jin Luan nodded. Indeed. Li Shang says, do you know why loose immortals have to recognize a master? Why is the number of tribulations sometimes more important than the actual star level? Recognizing a master is a powerful immortal master. If others want to bully you, they should at least look at the master's face. Your current star level is higher than others, but if your number of tribulations is not as good as the other parties, you can count on him today. In the future, when he grows up, even killing him is a light punishment. As long as he kills you, he will lose all his dignity in the seventh heaven and will never be able to stand out. Lu Chen went into seclusion for 4 years as soon as he arrived at the sixth heaven, and then fell into the Myriad World Maze for 2 years. His theoretical knowledge was still in a mess. Fortunately, there was finally someone here to explain it to him. Chen, we're all fine now. You can go and receive your reward in the next 2 days. Don't you still have some things to show? Although there shouldn't be anyone coming to challenge us in a short period of time, we can't be careless. Next, we have to develop the herb garden and earn more spirit tablets. You can also exchange them for some resources in the future. Jin Luan said, in my opinion, it's best to get a better cave abode first. A good cave abode can cultivate at a much faster speed than our 9-star grotto heaven. Lu Chen suddenly said, Yi Fan and Jiu sold their cave abodes. I'll see if I can help them buy a new one first. Yi Fan immediately said, Master, I think the 9-star grotto heaven is pretty good. We don't have to rush. Besides, Xiao Zhan and Chu Tian should be coming in a few years. When that time comes, I'll stay with them. Lu Chen smiled. Let's go and see what we can get first. In the afternoon, Ling Long brought Lu Chen to the Immortal Bestowment platform. Lu Chen is your real name? Ling Long suddenly asked. Yes. Lu Chen did not hide it. Do you really want to go to the lower realm to see your son? Lu Chen was stunned and looked at Ling Long in surprise. Indeed, this woman knew about that matter. Ling Long only smiled. Mu Xing told me about you guys. I didn't expect that she was testing you in the Myriad World Maze. It's almost impossible for a true immortal to descend to the lower realm, apart from a few fortuitous encounters. Only when you reach Sengoku are you qualified to descend to the lower realm. When you reach immortal supremacy, you are no longer restricted. Lu Chen frowned. As the king of savages, didn't that mean he was not qualified to descend to the lower realm? That meant, he would not be able to see his son. What fortuitous encounters are you talking about? Lu Chen asked. Immortals, miracles, mystic realms, etc. If I could name them accurately, they wouldn't be called fortuitous encounters. Lu Chen looked at Ling Long in surprise. He felt that she seemed to have changed after coming out of the Myriad World Maze. Sai, you haven't cultivated the Ice Heart technique in a long time, right? Ling Long smiled. Not anymore. Ah. Someone gave me another cultivation technique. Lu Chen was puzzled. Ling Long was still cultivating the Ice Heart technique in the Myriad World Maze. She had been with Lu Chen the entire time. How could she have met such an expert? Soon, he thought of a possibility. Could it be Mu Xing? What did she say to you? Ling Long turned her head and looked at Lu Chen with a pair of clear eyes. Don't ask. Lu Chen frowned. It seemed that Mu Xing had not only told Ling Long about the child. They seemed to have talked about other things as well. However, since Ling Long did not say anything, he did not pursue the matter. Soon, they reached the Immortal Bestowment platform. As soon as he saw Lu Chen, an old man hurried over. Sir, you're here. Lu Chen also knew this person. It was the old man who was angered by him at that time. Senior, were you waiting for me? I wouldn't dare. Sir, please come this way. There are more resources to collect this time, but I've already sorted them out for you. Lu Chen and Ling Long followed the old man to a small house. There are 112 pieces of collateral in total. The old man checked the account book while handing bags of resources to Lu Chen. Spirit tablets, 23,000. Cash withdrawal, 5 million. Elixirs above 5th grade immortal level, 9,000. Low grade, 5,000. Mid grade, 3,000. High grade, 1,000. Immortal grade herb seeds, 100,000. Immortal grade elixir formulas, 10. Low grade cave abodes, 3. Mid grade cave abodes, 1. Immortal protection orders, 1 year, 2. Battle pet advancement elixir, 1. Unknown map, 1. Chapter 1256. That's all? Lu Chen asked. The old man's hands trembled as he hurriedly said, "Sir, this is already quite a lot." Lu Chen shook his head and kept the items. 112 sets of resources is equivalent to the coordinates of a planet. You call this a lot? Sir, allow me to say something unpleasant. A planet's coordinates like Earth can only be exchanged for this much. If it's a high-level planet's coordinates, the price will naturally be different. Although this was unpleasant to hear, it was the truth. After all, to others, Earth was just a technological world. Lu Chen nodded and did not make things difficult for the old man. After collecting the resources, the two of them came out of the immortal bestowment platform. Ling Long smiled and said, "Your 9-star grotto heaven can be exchanged for an intermediate-grade cave abode." The 9-star grotto heaven was an intermediate-grade cave abode. This time, one of the spoils of war was an intermediate-grade cave abode. It was 1 grade higher than the 9-star grotto heaven. Ling Long, what grade is your cave abode? I was thinking of selling these cave abodes and seeing if I can redeem Yi Fan and Jiu Er's cave abodes. Ling Long smiled. After successfully passing the tribulation, we will have a place in the immortal realm and will be automatically assigned a cave abode. However, the grade will not be too high. The cave abode I was assigned at the beginning was only an intermediate grade. This is already the highest grade among the cave abodes assigned. Your disciple and friend should also be at the intermediate grade. If you want to sell, let's put it this way. You can buy an intermediate grade cave abode for about 100 to 300 spirit tablets. An intermediate grade cave abode is about 10 times the price of an intermediate grade cave abode. As for an advanced grade cave abode, the price will be 10 times higher. Lu Chen was surprised. So much difference? Of course. In the 7 heavens, the cave abodes are where the immortals live for a long time. It is also the most important place for cultivation. The higher the spirit chi, the price will be 10 times higher. In short, your 20,000 spirit tablets are already a huge sum of money. Even I can't take out so many spirit tablets in one go. Lu Chen thought for a while. If the intermediate grade cave abode was only 2 to 3,000 spirit tablets, he could return them to Yi Fan and Jiu Er first. Although the two of them sold their cave abodes and he would still get the spirit tablets, Lu Chen naturally wouldn't let them suffer a loss since they had fought to the death to protect Earth. After descending the sky stairway, Ling Long handed Lu Chen 10 teleportation talismans. Lu Chen, these 10 teleportation talismans record the more frequently visited cities and regions in the human race's immortal realm. They will be of use to you in the future. I haven't been back for 2 years, so I need to go back and take a look. I won't accompany you back. Lu Chen was also taken aback by the sudden need to part with Ling Long. In these 2 years, the two could be said to be inseparable. Although the two of them had quarreled, in the end, their relationship was very different from before. However, all good things must come to an end. Ling Long also had her own matters to attend to. Lu Chen took a deep breath and smiled at Ling Long. "Ling Long, there's something I've always wanted to tell you." Ling Long was stunned for a moment. Then, she couldn't help but feel nervous. She didn't know when her face started to heat up. What did you say?" "Thank you," Lu Chen said with a smile. A trace of disappointment flashed in Ling Long's eyes, but it was just a glance. Then, she said with a smile, "Since you're so grateful to me, why don't you consider acknowledging me as your master again?" Lu Chen smiled slightly. This time, Ling Long was obviously joking with him. "Okay, I'm leaving. See you again someday." After saying that, Ling Long activated the teleportation talisman and disappeared in front of Lu Chen. Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. "Finally, you're not going to tell me that we won't see each other again?" She had already left. Lu Chen also used the teleportation talisman to return to the 9-star grotto heaven. As soon as he returned, Lu Chen gathered everyone. According to Gu Yan, everyone would move to a middle-level cave abode in the future. The other 3 low-level cave abodes and the 9-star grotto heaven would be a total of 4 cave abodes for the hangers-on to live in. After all, after acknowledging Gu Yan as their master, they did not have a stable residence. Lu Chen hid it from Yi Fan and gave Li Shang 6,000 spirit tablets to buy 2 middle-level cave abodes. This was to compensate Yi Fan and Jiu He. The immortal pill formulas were naturally given to Little Green. In any case, Lu Chen did not know how to make them. When Little Green saw so many immortal pill formulas, he was extremely excited. In addition, Lu Chen asked Little Green to choose suitable seeds for the alchemy apprentices. The rest were given to Gu Yan to cultivate in the Qin garden. After all, this was the immortal region. Some herbs might be more suitable to be cultivated in the immortal region. However, to cultivate high-grade herbs, they still needed to buy some spiritual items as fertilizer. Lu Chen set aside another 2,000 spirit tablets for the development of the Qin garden. Lu Chen was not in a hurry to sell the 10,000 pills. He had enough spirit tablets for now, and the pills were necessities, so he would keep them with him for the time being. After distributing the resources, Lu Chen still had 15,000 spirit tablets, 5 million cash withdrawal notes, 10,000 pills, 2 one-year protection orders, a pet advancement pill and an unknown map. Li Shang and the others were already busy packing up, preparing to go to the Holy Spirit Grotto Heaven. Lu Chen found a training room and summoned the little beast, the little furball, the little originator and rhubarb. For some reason, the little beast and the little furball seemed to be in low spirits. Little beast, what's wrong with you? Dad, I seem to have eaten a lot during the battle. I need to digest it slowly. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The little furball's situation was different. It said that it was hungry. Lu Chen was having a headache. In terms of digestion, the little furball was second to none. Even the little beast was no match for it. But then again, the little beast had been eating spirit cores. It was normal for it to have indigestion. Dad, what do you want from us? Asked the little beast. Lu Chen took out the pet advancement pills. Do you have any use for these? The little beast glanced at them, uninterested. Dad, I don't need them. Only low-level pets can advance with them. The little furball, on the other hand, was quite interested. It kept squeaking. Boss, is it delicious? Lu Chen pulled a long face. These are pet advancement pills, not candies. The little furball instantly lost interest. The little originator shook its head. As a spirit of the world and a puppet at first, it didn't need the pills at all. The 3 of them looked at the pills with disdain, as if only garbage would eat them. Lu Chen was quite embarrassed. This is the first time I've seen something like this since I came to the Jiutian. Why do you all dislike it so much? Forget it. I'll give it away if you don't want it. Right then, with a clang, a bronze mirror fell to the ground. Lu Chen and the little beast looked at where the sound came from, only to see rhubarb standing there with a wronged look. Even the 9 turns golden crow mirror had fallen. That was the little beast's life. Woof, woof, woof. Who are you calling garbage? Don't you dare run away when I wake up. Rhubarb bellowed. The little beast shrank its neck. Rhubarb, I didn't mean it. The little furball hurried to Lu Chen's hand and gave the advancement pill to rhubarb. The little originator rubbed rhubarb with its big head, pushing rhubarb away. Rhubarb didn't hesitate to eat the advancement pill. Lu Chen walked over to rhubarb and looked at rhubarb in surprise. Rhubarb, are you sure this thing will work? With that said, Lu Chen picked up the bronze mirror from the ground for rhubarb. Lu Chen was stunned as soon as he picked up the bronze mirror. First turn golden crow mirror. That thing had been upgraded from the 9 turns golden crow mirror to the 3rd and then to the 1st. Chapter 1257. After taking the battle pet advancement pill, rhubarb rolled up and fell asleep. Lu Chen didn't have the chance to ask it, so he could only put away the golden crow mirror for it. Later, Lu Chen and Earth's loose immortal moved into the sacred spirit grotto. When he got the cave, Lu Chen also got the transmission talisman. In the seventh layer of heaven, as long as there was a transmission talisman, no matter how far it was not a distance. Although it was only a medium-grade cave, it was more than twice as big as the 9-star grotto. The cave was full of spirit energy, even the resting room had a high concentration of spirit energy, not to mention the cultivation room. There were 30 low-level cultivation rooms and 3 intermediate-level cultivation rooms. Even if they were all low-level cultivation rooms, the effect was half as good as the 9-star grotto. And the 3 intermediate-level cultivation rooms, the spirit energy could reach twice as much as the 9-star grotto. Lu Chen finally understood why the price of a medium-grade cave was 10 times that of a low-grade cave. You can cultivate by eating and sleeping here. Jin Luan laughed happily. Lower your voice, don't disturb Miss Jiu, Gu Yan said. Not long after, Li Shang also came back. He bought 2 medium-grade cultivation rooms and gave them to Lu Chen. Lu Chen gave one of them to Yi Fan and kept the other for Jiu, He would give it to her when she woke up. Master, I told you not to buy it for me. Yi Fan said as he took the transmission talisman. If you want to buy it for me, it's fine to sell it at a discount. I think it's better to find a chance to sell it. Your place is so big, can't I just squeeze in here? Lu Chen almost vomited blood. He suddenly thought of something and asked, how is the financial situation of the God Devil Academy? With senior brother Black Armor Wang, how can it be bad? Even I, who have been the dean for 6 years, now owes senior brother Black Armor Wang more than 200 million spirit stones. Yi Fan shook his head and sighed. At first, I took a fancy to the dean's salary, who knew that after I got the salary, I owed even more. If it weren't for senior brother Black Armor Wang pressuring me, I would have gone through my tribulation next year. Good heavens, Yi Fan ascended to immortality because he was forced to pay a debt. Lu Chen couldn't help but admire this kid. However, even if Yi Fan transcended the tribulation and became an immortal, he would still be a poor immortal. Then how are you going to pay me back after you transcend the tribulation? Sigh, I definitely have to return the money. When I have money, I'll see if I can descend to the lower realm. Lu Chen shook his head. He didn't doubt that Yi Fan would return the money, but he didn't know how long it would take for Yi Fan to have the money. How about this? I'll take out all the cultivation methods and equipment that I need to withdraw. There should still be some left. When the time comes, I'll buy back the cave from you. After all, it will be useful in the future. Lu Chen returned to his room and prepared to materialize the item. With 15,000 spirit tablets, Lu Chen continued to extract raging flames incinerate the heavens. This immortal art actually required 500 spirit tablets to be extracted. It was double the price of an ordinary immortal art. Next was the infinite God-Fiend sword. As for the other God-Fiend sets, other than the 9 transformations, they all required 1,000 spirit tablets. Lu Chen thought that this guy probably didn't need too many spirit tablets. 1, 2. 1,000, no reaction. Damn, it can't be, it's still not enough. 2,000 spirit tablets, no reaction, Lu Chen gasped. Big brother, you're already twice the price of others. Why don't you come out? At this moment, Heaven Pilfer's voice rang out in Lu Chen's mind. The price of a weapon is always the highest among the sets. And the price of an item with an artifact spirit far surpasses other equipment. Under normal circumstances, it's at least 5 times the price of an ordinary weapon. Ah! So expensive. Heaven Pilfer continued. It might be more than that. The infinite God-Fiend sword's attribute is extremely special. It's an extremely rare divine artifact that can increase one's strength on its own. Even in the inverse of the God-Fiend, there isn't a second one with this ability. Don't think that it's just a devouring ability. With the infinite God-Fiend sword, it can continuously increase the attribute limit of the God-Fiend Anonymous set. The infinite sword can devour equipment to strengthen itself and its owner's strength. Lu Chen, do you still remember how many equipment the infinite sword has devoured? Lu Chen's face darkened. I don't remember, let's not talk about the scattered ones. Just that time in the immortal corpse mound, there should be at least a few 100,000. A few 100,000, that might be several times the price of the withdrawal, this. Lu Chen, who thought that he had become rich, suddenly realized that he wasn't much richer than Yi Fan. 10,000 spirit tablets smashed down, but the infinite God-Fiend sword still didn't react. Lu Chen hurriedly stopped and withdrew all the equipment and cultivation methods that he had yet to withdraw. In the end, he only spent less than 100 spirit tablets. With more than 4,000 left, Lu Chen smashed another 4,000, but the infinite sword still couldn't be withdrawn. Lu Chen still had a few hundred spirit tablets on hand. In the end, he could only temporarily dismiss the idea of withdrawing the infinite sword. After leaving the room, Lu Chen looked at Yi Fan and shook his head. You'd better sell the cave abode yourself. I can't afford it. No way. Master, you had 15,000 spirit tablets just now. How did it disappear in such a short time? Yi Fan said in shock. I invested 14,000 spirit tablets into the infinite sword. It still can't be withdrawn. Yi Fan's eyes widened. He had also taken a lot of cultivation methods and equipment. Naturally, he knew that 14,000 spirit tablets was equivalent to dozens of people's equipment. Master, why don't we go work? Yi Fan suggested. Lu Chen rolled his eyes at Yi Fan. What work? Can you get rich by working? Then, how about fighting immortals? Fighting immortals won't make much money. True immortals have coordinates. With coordinates, we can't win spirit tablets. As for itinerant immortals, I don't really want to snatch their things. Lu Chen pondered and suddenly received a message. I'll go to the nearby city to take a look. Master, let's wait for 2 days. When Sister Jiu wakes up, let's go together. We still need a lot of spirit tablets to withdraw. Yi Fan wasn't simple either. A mid-level cave abode cost 2,000 to 3,000 spirit tablets. After deducting the price difference, he should have at least 2,000 spirit tablets. In the end, it still wasn't enough. As for Jiu, she definitely needed a lot of spirit tablets. Her dark erosion set probably wasn't cheap either. Lu Chen thought about it. Since Earth was temporarily safe, there was no harm in waiting for 2 more days. 3 days later, when Lu Yi was researching a new formula, she inadvertently discovered that Jiu had opened her eyes. She hurriedly came to inform Lu Chen. Jiu, Lu Chen walked quickly to Jiu's bed. You're finally awake. Nameless. I actually woke up a long time ago. I also heard some of your conversation. It's just that I've been cultivating, so I didn't wake up. Jiu sat up and looked at the sacred spirit grotto heaven. This is your new home. Lu Chen looked at Jiu with gratification. Thank you, and Yi Fan this time. Oh right, I bought you a new cave abode. Jiu looked at Lu Chen tenderly and smiled. Didn't Yi Fan say that he didn't need to buy us a new cave abode? Even if I didn't help you, I would probably sell the cave abode and exchange it for some spirit tablets. Lu Chen said, You've helped me so much. How can a new cave abode represent it? I say, the two of you don't have to be so polite. Little Green held a cup of water and looked at the two chatting. He was really anxious. He put down the teacup and said meaningfully, The little beast and the little furball are accompanying rhubarb. After saying that, he looked at Lu Chen and winked. Little Green, are your eyes okay? Lu Chen asked with concern. Little Green held his forehead and sighed. Maybe I'm blind. I couldn't even tell what kind of person boss is. I was wrong. Chapter 1258. Jiu had helped Lu Chen a lot this time. This reminded Lu Chen of the second heaven. At that time, Earth Village had been threatened by Green Wolf, and it was Jiu who had stepped forward bravely. Jiu, I forgot to ask you last time. Where are your brothers? I left them before the dark erosion awakened. I was afraid of hurting them. Jiu sighed. Lu Chen couldn't help but feel sorry for Jiu. For so many years, she had been alone, imprisoned and controlled by the dark erosion, and he hadn't helped at all, but now, everything was better. They had separated in the first heaven, second heaven, and sixth heaven, but now they were reunited in the seventh heaven. How's the situation on your world? Lu Chen asked. There's still a protection period of more than 10 years. As for the coordinates, there are 4 or 5 true immortals who have some, but they're not very strong. Lu Chen nodded. It seemed that the situation on Jiu's planet was also very tense. Jiu, your tribulation shouldn't be lower than Yi Fan's, right? Lu Chen asked. I'm at the 9th tribulation. Yi Fan told me that he was at the 10th tribulation. There are very few heavenly tribulations that surpass the 9th tribulation since ancient times. Yi Fan must have done something that no one knows to attract the 10th tribulation. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Jiu had the complete dark erosion set and was only at the 9th tribulation, but Yi Fan was actually at the 10th tribulation. By the way, Jiu suddenly said, Yi Fan has a mortal enemy. It's his ancestor. He massacred Yi Fan's lineage and stole his cultivation technique. He's now one of the 3 celestial supremacies of the human race. Lu Chen frowned. He had heard about this from Li Shang. Yi Fan's mortal enemy, Celestial Emperor Ling Tian. As for Celestial Emperor Ling Tian, Lu Chen had actually dealt with him before. The heavenly might chessboard of the second heaven was left behind by Celestial Emperor Ling Tian. One of the 3 celestial primes of the human clan, Emperor Yi. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. It seems that we will meet sooner or later. In other words, Lu Chen, Yi Fan, and Jiu are all urgently needed to increase their strength. Lu Chen took a deep breath and temporarily put this matter aside. He said to Jiu, Yi Fan and I plan to go to the nearby immortal cities to see if there are any opportunities. Do you want to come with us? Sure. Jiu immediately said, there are also many immortal opportunities in the 7th heaven. If we were to stay in the cave and cultivate, we wouldn't be able to encounter them. Is your body okay? No problem. Lu Chen nodded. Alright, I'll go take a look at Rhubarb. We'll leave in a bit. Rhubarb had been sleeping all this time. Little Critter, Little Furball, and Originator were guarding Rhubarb. Although Rhubarb had always been a cheerleader, its status in the battle pet team was quite high. After all, it was Lu Chen's first battle pet. Lu Chen still hadn't figured out the secret of the Golden Crow Mirror. At this moment, he was a bit worried when he saw Rhubarb, who had always been lively and active, curled up in a ball. Rhubarb. Lu Chen squatted down. Seeing that Rhubarb was breathing evenly, he was a bit relieved. Little Critter, I'll go to the city right away. You and Originator stay here to protect Rhubarb. Little Furball, you go and follow Little Green. Senior Li Shang and the others still need some time to recuperate. Little Green has to stay here to take care of them. With that, Lu Chen took out the Golden Crow Mirror and handed it to Little Critter. This belongs to Rhubarb. It might be useful. Got it, Dad. But if you find the portal to the lower realm, don't go there yourself. I want to see my little brother too. It wasn't easy to have a little brother, but we have to be separated. Lu Chen smiled faintly, got it. Oh, your big sister Green has a voice transmission talisman. Send me a message if you need anything. Okay. Don't worry, Dad. After instructing Little Critter and the others, Lu Chen greeted Li Shang and the others. Then, Lu Chen, Yi Fan, and Jiu used the teleportation talisman and disappeared from the Saint Spirit Grotto Heaven. Xianling Heavenly Domain, Qianji Grotto Heaven. Qianji narrowed his eyes. He had already seen Lone Tyrant's battle. A mere human king had managed to kill 204 celestials, including Skylark, Cloud Tyrant, and Shoagu. Damn it! He's just a human king. How can he win? Qianji clenched his fist and slammed it on the jade table. Shoagu and the other two are so weak. What a good-for-nothing. Qianji gritted his teeth. It's a pity that I haven't mastered my heaven-devouring dark tide. Otherwise, I would kill him right now. At that moment, his subordinate received a voice transmission. Solipsistic, Yi Fan, and Jiu from Mu Mansion appeared in Diling City. Diling City. Qianji frowned. Is the human race gathering people to go to the celestial ancestors' ruins? There is such a thing, the subordinate said. Is he qualified to go? The human race needs a 6-star true immortal to explore the celestial ancestors' ruins. He must have won at least 10 battles. For every 10 battles, his star will be lowered by 1. Now that he has 72 battles, he should be able to get rid of the requirement. Qianji nodded. If that's the case, he might be going to the celestial ancestors' ruins. The celestial ancestors' ruins are interconnected, and there are many traps inside. It's the best chance to assassinate him. With that, Qianji stood up. If I don't get rid of this person, I won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Hey Yan, you must kill that kid in the celestial ancestors' ruins. Yes. North of Diling City. Lu Chen and the other two were strolling around in the trading area. Immortals also needed to exchange resources, and every celestial city had its own trading area. After walking around, Lu Chen realized that there were all kinds of strange things being sold here. The people in charge of trading here were all itinerant immortals. They should be the followers of some celestial masters. Sometimes, a shop would sell other celestial masters' items, so there were all kinds of things in each shop. Celestial masters, what would you like to buy? A itinerant immortal asked Yi Fan and Jiu respectfully. Lu Chen felt a little awkward. As the captain, he was ignored just like that. But in order to keep a low profile, Lu Chen did not say anything, and let Yi Fan and the rest negotiate. Yi Fan looked at Lu Chen. Seeing Lu Chen signal him to speak, he said to the shop owner, "We are here to sell things." "Oh, you are here to sell things on consignment. Our shop's consignment is very standard. All consignment goods will definitely be sold at a price higher than the lowest price you can offer, and not lower. Furthermore, the consignment points will not be less." Yi Fan asked, "What is consignment points?" This celestial master must have just arrived at 7th heaven not long ago. Once you have enough consignment points, you can participate in the celestial domain auction house. You also know that the real good goods are all sold by the auction house. That shop owner was rather enthusiastic towards the celestial master, and explained patiently, "Look, the celestial ancestors' ruins are about to open. At that time, there will definitely be many good goods coming out." They had been to a few shops, and the shop owners had all mentioned the celestial ancestors' ruins. This was their next stop. It was just that they planned to sell their cave abodes first. Yi Fan nodded. "How many points do you need to participate in the auction?" 5,000 points. In general, 1 spirit tablet is equivalent to 1 point. Yi Fan and Jiu gave their cave abodes contract and teleportation talisman to Lu Chen. Lu Chen said to the shop owner, 2 medium-grade cave abodes, the lowest price is 4,000 spirit tablets. Also, 500 level 5 God Might body strengthening pills, 100 in a batch, and 1,000 spirit tablets in each batch. Oh. The consignment points are under your name. That loose immortal looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Yes. Lu Chen said. From the previous few shops, he understood the conditions to enter the celestial ancestors' ruins. Currently, only Lu Chen met the conditions. That loose immortal saw that the other party did not have any objections, and did not say anything more. He just muttered, "Friend, looks like you found a good job." Some powerful celestial masters were too lazy to go to the auction house themselves, and helped their loose immortal guests earn consignment points. The shop owner thought that Lu Chen was in such a situation. Lu Chen did not explain much. After completing the procedures, he went out with Yi Fan and Jiu, and headed straight to the south of the city. Chapter 1259. On an open plaza, immortal figures are flashing. Some are coming and some are leaving on their swords. It looks rather lively. Yi Fan says, "It should be here." The three of them see a high-star true immortal standing with his hands behind his back at the side of the plaza. In front of him are several loose immortals who are extremely busy. In front of the loose immortal, some people are queuing up. Lu Chen thinks for a while and says, "You guys wait for me here. I will go and sign up." The queue is not long and very soon it is Lu Chen's turn. The loose immortal opposite him is lowering his head to register, "Immortal Master, Immortal Rank, Immortal Battle Record." "You don't have any immortal level battle records." Before Lu Chen could finish, the other party raised his head and looked at him in surprise. "Wait, you don't have any battle records? You're a loose immortal." "What, loose immortals can't participate?" That person says with a sneer, "You can, unless you have 70 victories in the immortal arena." "Do you have it?" A loose immortal at the side stretches his head over and looks at Lu Chen. "Do you know what 70 victories in the immortal arena means? If you really have 70 victories, I am afraid that even immortal Venerable Sengoku will fight to have you as his follower." Lu Chen shakes his head, "Are you guys so free? When my battle record arrives, you will sign me up. If not, you won't sign me up. Just do your job properly. How we do things is not up to you to teach us." That loose immortal says with a cold face, "We will not be polite to people like you who come to cause trouble." Lu Chen sighs, "I am not here to cause trouble. I am here to sign up." Since ancient times, there has never been a loose immortal who can go to the immortal ancestors' ruins. You say you are not here to cause trouble, who would believe you? Even I, a ninth tribulation loose immortal, do not dare to be so arrogant. Who do you think you are, actually daring to come here to cause trouble? Lu Chen slightly narrows his eyes. Suddenly, a black spear appears in Lu Chen's hand. Before anyone can react, the spear is already pressed against that ninth tribulation loose immortal's forehead. A drop of blood drips down from the tip of the spear. And that loose immortal didn't even dare to move. All of this happened so quickly that even the high-level true immortal behind the loose immortal was unable to react in time. The lives of his followers were already in the hands of this young man. "Now, can you work properly?" Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at the other party. The loose immortal's entire body trembled. His companion was even more at a loss. In front of that guy, they didn't even have time to react. "Spare my life, spare my life. I was a snob. Please show mercy." The ninth tribulation loose immortal said in a trembling voice. Lu Chen didn't kill him. He put away his spear and said, "Can we continue?" Yes, Lu Chen said indifferently, "Immortal duel record, 72 wins." That person's eyes widened. This guy really had 72 wins. One had to know that only true immortals could participate in the immortal battles. In other words, he had defeated 72 true immortals. Not only that, he had not lost a single match. "May I ask sir's name?" "Solipsistic." "Solipsistic. It's you." Earth's cultivator. Lu Chen couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with this person and said impatiently, "Have you finished registering?" "Sir, please wait a moment. I will do the registration here." That person instantly became nimble. His previous attitude was indeed completely cured after a beating. Not long later, that person handed over a wooden token to Lu Chen. "Sir, this is the Immortal Ancestors' Ruins travel token. At the same time, it is also a transmission talisman. 3 days later, the Immortal Ancestors' Ruins will open. At that time, only people with this token can enter. Each token can bring at most 2 followers." Lu Chen nodded his head and put away the token. He turned around and was about to leave. That loose immortal suddenly stood up. "Sir, please wait." Lu Chen turned his head in astonishment. "What, is there a problem?" "Sir, I have a personal question. May I ask how did you break through the upper limit of loose immortal?" Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, "I am not a loose immortal." With that, he walked away. There was already a commotion behind him. Many people's eyes followed Lu Chen's back until he quickly left with his 2 companions. Is he really not a loose immortal? Is the rumor true? Whether he is in the human king realm or not, I can't take that spear just now. Could it be that mortals can really break through the limit and not be at a disadvantage when fighting against immortals? Unfortunately, as long as Lu Chen didn't answer these questions, they could only guess. If one person spread it to 10 to 100, who knew what it would become in the end? In the woods outside Diling City, Lu Chen and the other 2 temporarily rested here to discuss. The Immortal Ancestors' Ruins would open in 3 days. It was said that the number of immortals participating in the treasure hunt in the ruins had already reached tens of thousands. In addition, they would bring 2 followers with them. The total number might exceed 100,000. "Master, I heard that the Immortal Ancestors' Ruins have entrances in the various immortal realms. In other words, we might encounter immortals from other races," Yi Fan said. Jiu nodded and said, "Previously, I went to inquire about some information about the Immortal Ancestors' Ruins. There are a total of 3 ruins there. They are the True Immortals' Ruins, the Sengoku's Ruins, and the Immortal Supremacy's Ruins. The deeper you go, the better the treasures produced. It's just that there are many traps inside. In addition, everyone is competing. We still have to be careful." Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, "We don't know what's inside now. When the time comes, we'll just act according to the circumstances." In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. On the morning of the 3rd day, Lu Chen and the other 2 used the token to teleport to the Immortal Ancestors' Ruins. As soon as they arrived, Lu Chen was shocked by the scene in front of him. At this moment, they were standing on a floating boulder. Many people around them were also teleported to this boulder. Standing on the boulder, they couldn't even see the ground below. They could only see layers of white fog. Around them, there were large and small floating boulders, roughly forming a circle. And in front of these floating boulders, there was an incomparably huge teleportation door, towering between heaven and earth. In front of this huge teleportation door, people were like tiny ants, insignificant. Such a huge teleportation door. I've never seen it before. Yi Fan exclaimed. If this is the Immortal Ancestors' Ruins, then what was this place in the past? Jiu frowned and asked. At this moment, a white-clothed woman flashed from a small floating boulder and instantly stood in front of everyone. This woman wore a veil. Her voice was soft and her figure was graceful. However, when the surrounding people saw her, they all cupped their fists. White Python Sengoku. White Python nodded slightly and then said, "The Immortal Ancestors' Ruins gather the spirit of heaven and earth, the light of the sun and moon, and the Immortal Ancestors' remnant spirit to nurture treasures. Today, the ruins are open. All immortals can explore on their own. As for what they gain, it all depends on their own luck. I only emphasize one point. Immortals of the human race can only search for treasures in the area left behind by the human race's immortal ancestor. They cannot cross the boundary. Yes, White Python Sengoku. Everyone replied in unison. Lu Chen frowned slightly. In such a big immortal ancestor's ruins, they could only search for treasures in the area left behind by the human race's immortal ancestor. It was a bit wasteful. At this moment, the immortal gate opened, and waves of incomparably powerful spiritual energy rushed out. The immortal ancestor's ruins were open. Chapter 1260. The door to the immortal ancestor ruins opened, and the immortals rushed into the portal. Let's go. Lu Chen and the other two quickly entered the portal. After a moment of dizziness, Lu Chen's team entered the immortal ancestor ruins. Lu Chen saw that many people took out their tokens to check as soon as they arrived, so he also took out the immortal ancestor token. A few lines of words appeared on the token. Immortals from all races gather in the ancient immortal realm. The immortal ancestors of each race have their own territories and bloodlines. Anyone who enters the territory of another race's immortal ancestor will be suppressed by the immortal ancestor's spiritual power. Their strength will be weakened, and a large-scale defense mechanism will be triggered. There was a curved line on the token that flickered slightly. From the other immortals, Lu Chen learned that this immortal path was the so-called bloodline. Master, we seem to have to follow this bloodline. Otherwise, we will enter the territory of the immortal ancestors of other races, Yi Fan said. Jiu frowned. The human bloodline seems to only extend to the Sengoku district. Lu Chen thought about it. For now, it was more important to snatch the treasure. If they accidentally entered the other bloodlines, not only would they be suppressed by the immortal ancestors' spiritual power and trigger more mechanisms, but they might also be besieged by the immortals of other races. We'll talk about the rest later. Let's follow the bloodline and see what treasures we can get. Okay. The three of them quickly adjusted their state and walked north according to the direction of the bloodline on the token. In the immortal ancestor ruins, the forest was dense. A large group of immortals stepped through the grass that was half the height of a person and walked into the depths of the forest. Lu Chen, Yi Fan, and Jiu temporarily followed the large group to explore. Not long after, two huge stone statues appeared in front of them. They were about 100 meters tall and stood at the entrance of a valley on the left and right. The statues were carved of two human men. Their eyes were deep as they looked straight ahead. One of them stood with a sword, while the other held a broad axe. Their expressions were dignified. When someone approached, the statue rumbled loudly, and at the same time, it made a deep sound. Immortal Master's herb garden, trespassers will die. With that, the two statues moved at the same time and waved their weapons at the approaching immortals. Even though the statues were cumbersome, their attacks were extremely fast and powerful, causing spiritual energy to vibrate. Holy shit, what the hell is this? Lu Chen was shocked when he saw this scene. Someone in front shouted, "Follow me closely. This war spirit is extremely strong. Every time more than 1,000 people enter, it will activate the defensive array. It will also enter a berserk state. If you want to enter, you will have to wait for 2 hours." Fortunately, those who could come to the ruins of the immortal ancestor were not ordinary people. In an instant, many people rushed into the medicinal garden. Lu Chen and the others were not at the front. Just as they were about to break through the encirclement, they discovered that the two stone statues had suddenly erupted. The stones on their bodies fell off, revealing their true bodies. Star-Lord's defensive array. The two fighting souls joined forces to activate the defensive array. Then, their bodies exploded with terrifying spiritual energy. Not good, the number of people is full. The sword and axe protector is enraged. Hurry up and retreat. Someone at the front fled backwards. Jiao couldn't help but gasp as she watched the two war gods unleash a barrage of attacks on the immortals who intended to barge into the herb garden. Nameless, there's something wrong with these two war spirits. Their spiritual energy is too terrifying. Lu Chen also nodded. He didn't know why the attack power of the two war spirits was so terrifying. Every move was a large-scale attack. It was impossible to get close. Even if it was him, in terms of spiritual energy, he was probably not a match for the sword and axe protector. How abnormal are the attributes of these two guys? Master, the ruins of the immortal ancestor have existed for who knows how many years. The sword and axe protector have absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for thousands of years. Let's not fight them head-on. The three of them hurriedly retreated and temporarily avoided the attack. After retreating for thousands of meters, the two war spirits didn't chase after them. They just guarded the canyon. The people who were blocked outside the door looked a little depressed. We actually didn't get to be the first to enter the medicinal garden. It seems that the most precious medicinal materials of the good herbs will be picked by them. There's nothing we can do about it. Unless you rush in now, you can only wait for the war spirits to calm down with the Star Lord array and the protection of the war spirits. This was the first time Lu Chen and the others had come to the ruins of the immortal ancestor. In terms of experience, they were much worse than others. This time, they also didn't get to be the first to enter the medicinal garden. We were careless this time. Who knew that these two stone statues would suddenly move? Jiao shook her head. Lu Chen had been staring at the two war spirits. Now that no one was close, they quieted down. Lu Chen looked at the immortal ancestor's token again. This valley was a path that the human race had to pass through. This could be confirmed by the fact that the others would rather wait than leave. Otherwise, if there was another way, they would have definitely found another way out. When it came to snatching treasures, one step at a time, one step at a time. If they really waited for the second batch to enter, it would be too late. Just as Lu Chen was feeling anxious, he suddenly felt a plant wrap around his foot. Lu Chen looked around in shock. The others hadn't encountered such a situation, and no one had noticed his situation. Lu Chen pretended to sit down, but in fact, he was examining the plant. Upon closer inspection, Lu Chen immediately recognized the plant. Wood life? Lu Chen whispered to the plant. The small plant actually let go of Lu Chen's foot. After spreading out on the ground, it pointed in the northwest direction. Then, it shrank into the ground and disappeared. Lu Chen was rather surprised. That plant should be the roots and vines of the primordial Mongolian tree. At this moment, it was actually looking for him. Could something have happened to his son? No matter what, he had to take a look. Jiao, Yi Fan, follow me. At a time like this, he definitely couldn't leave his companions behind. Lu Chen whispered to the two of them and walked to the side of the valley. After Lu Chen and company left the waiting area, not long after, the small vine moved and drilled out of the ground again. It still pointed in the northwest direction before disappearing into the ground again. What is this? Jiao asked curiously. This. I'll explain it to you in the future. Let's follow the direction it points to first, Lu Chen said. Jiao and Yi Fan completely trusted Lu Chen. They didn't care about the tribe and followed Lu Chen in the direction that the small vine pointed. Unknowingly, they had already left the main group and also the human tribe. This time, the small vine appeared again. Lu Chen couldn't help but ask, "Are you with life or not? Where are you taking me? If we go further northwest, we will reach the tribe. We are here to search for treasures. I don't want to fight with others before finding any," Lu Chen said. The small vine didn't say anything and continued to guide Lu Chen. Yi Fan pulled Lu Chen back. "Master, if we go again, I'm afraid we will miss the second chance of the medicine garden's war spirit releasing people. If we miss it again, I'm afraid we might really be here to accompany them. Lu Chen hesitated for a moment before gritting his teeth. Follow the immortal vine. Lu Chen walked for another half an hour. At this time, they had already entered some tribe's territory. At this moment, a large number of immortal vines suddenly appeared under their feet. When the three of them were about to escape, they suddenly realized that the ground under their feet wasn't ground at all. Instead, it was ground disguised by countless vines. The three of them were immediately sucked into the vines. The vines rolled and the three of them were swept away. They couldn't see each other anymore. Lu Chen was about to activate the celestial demon symbiosis when he heard a familiar voice. What? You want to hit me? Lu Chen's eyes widened. Wood Life, is it really you? I've only sent your friends away temporarily. I won't hurt them. Since you are the child's father, I'll help you this once. Now, do as I say. Chapter 1261. Lu Chen was currently in a small wooden house made of vines. In front of him stood a beautiful girl, who was a branch of the great Mongol tree. You're in danger now. Mu Xing always had that slight smile on her face. Lu Chen was a little afraid. Danger? You can't be thinking of reproducing with me again, right? Let me make it clear, us humans having children is different from you guys sowing seeds. Mu Xing could not help but cover her mouth and laugh. In your dreams. I've already spent too much effort giving birth to Yao. While Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief, he also felt a little regretful. Then what do you mean by saying that I'm in danger now? Lu Chen asked. You don't even know that someone wants to deal with you. There are many people who want to deal with me. I don't have the time to care about these things. Lu Chen answered. Mu Xing smiled and shook her head. You're so carefree. I'm really curious how you managed to survive until now. The person who wants to deal with you this time is very strong. He actually invited Sengoku from a different race to deal with you. If you encounter him, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape. Sengoku? Someone from Venerable Immortal Ling Tian. Lu Chen frowned. No, Venerable Immortal Ling Tian is a human. If he wants to deal with you, why would he go so far and ask someone from a different race to deal with you? So your enemy should be someone from a different race. Lu Chen frowned. Did he have any enemies from a different race in the seventh heaven? This question was very difficult to answer. After all, he had not even seen some of his opponents before, let alone know their identities. However, in short, Lu Chen now knew one thing. There was an expert from a different race who wanted to deal with him. To be able to invite Sengoku, that person's strength, Mu Xing said, you're finally enlightened. As the saying goes, it's easy to dodge a spear in the open, but difficult to defend against a stab in the dark. The other party also has Sengoku to help. Even if you can escape, what about your friends? Yi Fan and Jiu were only 1 star after all. They were still too weak. Thinking of this, Lu Chen looked at Mu Xing. Then, what should I do? Mu Xing smiled. Actually, most of the immortal ancestral ruins are underground. I'll send you and your friends to the underground ruins in a while. Few people enter there, and there are plenty of resources there. Just remember 2 things. First of all, this underground region is known as the place where the universe reverses. In this place, the meridians circulate in one direction and in the other. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Huh? What does this mean? Mu Xing continued, for example, when you throw a punch, normally speaking, spirit qi would be transmitted from the spirit core, through the meridians in the body, to the arm, and finally explode outwards. But here, if you are in the heaven and earth forward rotation state, you can punch out normally. But if you are in the heaven and earth reverse rotation state, not only will you not be able to punch out, but if you forcefully punch out, you will directly damage your own spirit core. Lu Chen almost spat out a mouthful of blood. How could there be such a strange place? When the universe is reversed, you must circulate your spirit energy in the opposite direction in order to attack. Lu Chen pursed his lips and thought hard for a long time. Then how can you tell if the universe is in the heaven and earth reverse rotation state? I don't know. The underground world has a treasure called the Jiutian star. When the time comes, you will see a star suspended in the sky. The heaven and earth reverse rotation state is determined by it. But that thing has existed for too long, and its interior has become extremely unstable, so there is no way to tell. Lu Chen pursed his lips and did not say a word. He always felt that it was better to stay above ground than to come underground. Second, take the route of your human race's bloodline. The other routes are guarded against foreign races. War spirits mostly expel their own race, but to foreign races, they kill them without mercy. The rules of the surface also apply underground. In order to protect their bloodline, other races often set up more traps against foreign races. Some traps can destroy the world. In addition, I suggest that you don't go too deep. Although the underground ruins are rich in resources, the defense is also stronger. You can find some treasures in the periphery, but it is too dangerous to go too deep. Lu Chen's face darkened. Why don't you send us back? I feel that the underground is even more unreliable. Mu Xing smiled like a flower. Why? Aren't you here to hunt for treasures? If you're afraid of danger when hunting for treasures, then what kind of treasures can you find? Do you know how many rare treasures are hidden in the underground since no one has come here for thousands of years? When it came to treasures, Lu Chen could only swallow his resentment into his stomach. For treasures, it was worth taking a risk. All right then. Someone has already taken the lead in the herb garden. We can only gamble now. Lu Chen sighed. Mu Xing smiled. All right then, I will send you to the underground. Lu Chen suddenly said. Then, how's Yao Er? Your sister has already accepted Yao Er's identity. She sent Yao Er back to Earth to be raised. Over there, Yao Er can at least spend a carefree childhood. Mu Xing's eyes turned gentle. Is there an entrance to the lower realm here? I want to go back and see my son. No. Mu Xing's reply was very straightforward. Where is it? You're rooted in the seventh heaven, so you should know. Lu Chen anxiously asked. Over at the human immortal domain, the few known entrances to the lower realm are all controlled by someone. I'm only a branch of the great Mongol tree. I have a better understanding of the human immortal domain, but I'm not sure about the other immortal domains. Lu Chen's brows were tightly furrowed, and he did not say a single word. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Mu Xing walked in front of Lu Chen, pressed her lips against Lu Chen's ear, and softly said. Rather than going to the lower realm to see Yao Er, I think it's best for you to find the person who's trying to harm you. I don't wish for my child to grow up without a father. In the next second, the vines rolled, and Lu Chen was once again drawn into the endless divine vines. Oh, right, there's one more thing. Your sister is very interesting. After Mu Xing said her last sentence, she retreated into the vines and disappeared. After an unknown period of time, Lu Chen, Yi Fan, and Jiu Er fell from the sky at the same time. When the three of them landed heavily on the ground, they saw that the three of them were deep in the underground world. This place was abnormally spacious, with overlapping mountains and rivers flowing through them. Above their heads was a huge bright disk, like the sun and moon hanging in the sky, illuminating the entire underground world. That should be the Jiutian star. This place was not much different from the surface. However, when they looked up at the sky, they could see that the sky was made of solid rock. Heavens, we're underground. Yi Fan frowned. This is really an underground world. It's practically a world of its own. It should be that plant that brought us down. However, this place is actually so vast. I've never seen an underground like this. Jiu looked around. There was actually a mountain range underground. This was really unbelievable. This is the underground part of the immortal ancestors' ruins. Lu Chen said. There are more treasures here than above, and no one is snatching them from us. As Lu Chen explained, he took out the immortal ancestors token. Mu Sheng had said that they had to take the human race's immortal path. Now, their position was clearly off track. Let's return to the human race's immortal path first. Don't run around. This place is more dangerous than above, Lu Chen reminded them. The three of them returned to the human race's immortal path using the token. This place should be right below the herb garden. Yi Fan compared the token and studied it. Yes. Lu Chen looked ahead and confirmed their location. Let's go in first. Let me confirm whether it's the heaven and earth cycle or the heaven and earth cycle. Yi Fan looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Master, what's the heaven and earth cycle or the heaven and earth cycle? At that moment, Yi Fan saw Lu Chen throw a light punch. Then, Lu Chen was sent flying. Yi Fan and Jiu Er's faces were filled with fear. What exactly happened just now? Lu Chen jogged back. As he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, he cursed, that lunatic. He's going to be played to death. Chapter 1262. Lu Chen explained to Jiu and Yi Fan about the heaven and earth forward rotation and reverse rotation. Only then did the two of them understand that Lu Chen had sent himself flying just now. Can't you be gentler? Jiu blamed Lu Chen. Lu Chen said, I can't do anything about it. When reversing, I need to use my spiritual power. Moreover, it's a direct attack on my spirit core. There's no way to defend against it. Yi Fan frowned and said, according to Master, this place is more dangerous than the surface. I reckon there will be plenty of opportunities to fight. However, it's very troublesome to use spiritual power in reverse. Lu Chen glanced at the entrance of the valley. There were no huge war spirits guarding it. After thinking about it, Lu Chen said, the area above ground opens up once every few years, but there are still so many people coming to search for treasures. It can be seen that the immortal ancestral ruins is a place where spirit gathers and can nurture a large number of treasures. The underground area is uninhabited all year round. The treasures here are many times more than those on the surface. We have to try. Jiu also said, yes, the other perfected immortals of the seventh heaven have cultivated here for hundreds of years and accumulated a lot of resources. In addition, they have recruited a lot of guests. It's impossible to establish a foothold in the seventh heaven without taking risks. Yi Fan, if you're afraid, you can wait for us here. However, don't be greedy when we take the treasures. Yi Fan said, Sister Jiu I'm not afraid. I'm worried about you guys, especially Master. What if he uses a sword to break the sky? Wouldn't he directly ascend to the heavens with a sword? Lu Chen was speechless. I say, kid, can't you say something more auspicious? You're fine. Can something happen to your master? Master, I'm just afraid that your attack is too high. Jokes aside, the three of them were very strong. Their combat ability was also outstanding. In addition, they had been poor recently. In the end, they decided to venture into the underground immortal ancestral ruins. Master, let's try to see if there are any changes in other non-offensive skills under the reversal situation. After saying that, Yi Fan immediately used a displacement skill. Lu Chen and Jiu Er's vision blurred. What a fast movement technique. This kid, Yi Fan, is improving very quickly. Lu Chen couldn't help but sigh. However, in the next second, the two of them heard a loud bang, and a figure sank into the side of the mountain. Not long after, a person crawled out from the rubble. Yi Fan's face was covered in blood as he jogged back. Master, Sister Jiu, you can't use displacement recklessly. You can increase your speed, but you can't control it. It seemed that under the heaven and earth reversal state, not only could he not use his attacks, he could not use his other statuses and movement techniques as well. Since we have plenty of time to explore, let's try not to use our spiritual energy, Lu Chen said. Alright, let's go in. With that said, the three of them were about to enter the valley. At this moment, Lu Chen suddenly felt that there was someone behind him. He didn't dare to use his spiritual power, so he hurriedly turned around to look. Not far away, a woman in white was walking towards them. Lu Chen frowned. Linglong. When Linglong saw Lu Chen and the others, she didn't dare to use displacement and quickened her pace. Lu Chen, Yi Fan, and Linglong sized up the woman in black beside Lu Chen. This woman was dressed in black, and her face was no longer as pale as when she was bedridden. After her complexion improved, she looked even more outstanding. Miss Jiu, are you alright? Back then, Jiu, wasn't really in a coma. It was just a special cultivation technique of the dark erosion, so she knew that Linglong had taken care of her. She bowed slightly to Linglong. Thank you for your concern, Sister Linglong. I'm fine now. Thank you for taking care of me back then. Linglong smiled. It's nothing. Miss Jiu, you don't have to take it to heart. Lu Chen interrupted and asked, Linglong, why are you here? Senior Mu Xing sent me down, Linglong said. Also, it will be more difficult for you without an apothecary. She wants me to go with you. You're an apothecary. I know medicine and poison, but I don't specialize in apothecary. I specialize in both, Linglong said. Lu Chen nodded. Although he had met Linglong as a seventh firmament genius, they had stayed together in the myriad world maze for 2 years. She had accompanied him through the lowest 2 years and was already one of them. That's great. Lu Chen exclaimed in surprise. By the way, are you clear about the situation here? I roughly know about the changes in the universe. It's caused by the instability of that thing. Linglong looked at the huge sphere on the horizon that resembled the sun and moon. The 9 heavens eternal star, one of the top 10 most precious treasures in the 9 heavens. Unfortunately, it's nearing its end. It's different from other treasures. Other treasures will gradually lose their spiritual energy, but the older it gets, the more spiritual energy it will have. It's just that it will become extremely unstable and uncontrollable. Lu Chen sighed in his heart. Linglong was indeed the encyclopedia of the 9 heavens. She even knew so much about the stars of the 9 heavens. It seemed that Mu Xing's conscience had been discovered by Linglong on this trip. The team of 3 had now become a team of 4. Lu Chen led the team and carefully entered the valley. Although there were no huge stone statue war souls here, the 4 of them did not dare to let their guard down. They did not move very quickly. After all, there were few people in the underground area, which also meant that most of the traps here had not been triggered before. Above, there should be a herb garden at the same location. But why are there only weeds below? Linglong wondered. Let's go in first, Lu Chen said. After walking for more than 10 minutes, an arc-shaped light screen appeared in front of them. It seemed to be a defensive array. Is it a defensive array? Jiu asked. It doesn't look like it. A defensive array needs a supply of spiritual energy. This place has been empty for a long time. It's impossible for a defensive array to last this long, Yi Fan said. After the 4 of them carefully approached, they realized that the light screen was not big. It was about the size of a basketball court. However, there were 2 stone lion statues in front of the light screen. One of them was much larger than the light screen. It was lying there with its eyes wide open, motionless. Although the light screen was not big, it was quite crowded inside. The vegetation inside was lush, and there were many exotic flowers and herbs competing with each other. It's a herb garden. Linglong's eyes widened. And it's a high-grade herb garden. The herbs inside. Nuwa vines, spirit-returning earth spirit grass, five-petal daffodil. They are all rare herbs used to refine high-grade elixirs. This small herb garden is several times more valuable than all the herb gardens in the valley above. When everyone heard that, they were immediately energized. However, the four of them did not dare to take the risk. After all, this was the celestial ancestors' ruins. The stone statues were not ordinary stone statues. Those stone statues will attack. Moreover, the herb garden is so small. It's probably impossible to pick herbs under their eyes, Lu Chen said. How about this? I'll lure the stone lions away. You guys go pick the herbs. Lu Chen was the strongest, so the task of luring the stone lions away was left to him. Master, let me test it first. Yi Fan tried punching. He was still fine. Everyone was delighted. It was the heaven and earth positive rotation. Hee, my luck is not bad. Then I'll go. After saying that, Lu Chen directly rushed out of the grass and came in front of the stone statue. Sure enough, the stone on the surface of the stone statue fell off. In the blink of an eye, it turned into two giant golden lions and roared. Then, the two giant golden lions pounced on Lu Chen at the same time. Lu Chen coldly snorted. Now it's the heaven and earth positive rotation. I'll give you 99 meters. If you can catch me, I'll consider it your ability. The golden lion was unable to restrain its anger, and its speed was extremely fast. Lu Chen hurriedly used his movement skill. At this moment, Jiu, and the other two saw Lu Chen fly out like a cannonball, crashing into a nearby mountain. Damn, when did it turn upside down again? Lu Chen's angry roar came from the mountain. The two golden lions did not care so much and directly rushed to the mountain. Jiu, said faintly, is Brother Nameless using his life to lure the golden lions away? This master won't lure a monster and die. Yi Fan said worriedly. Linglong shouted, don't worry about him. He shouldn't die. Let's hurry up and pick the herbs. Chapter 1263. His teammates had full trust in Lu Chen, so when they saw that Lu Chen was being chased, they decided to make the best use of their time to pick herbs. Linglong and Lu Yi had a similarity. When picking herbs, they paid attention to avoid damaging the roots. Yi Fan and Lu Yi also knew how to refine pills. After all, not everyone had Lu Yi following them. Boom! Another loud sound came from afar. The three of them looked up into the distance. It seemed that Lu Chen had been forced to use a displacement technique and had crashed into a rock. However, the three of them only glanced at it and did not say anything. They lowered their heads and continued with their work. Half an hour later, all the herbs here were picked. The three of them straightened their backs and walked out of the herb garden. Boom! A loud sound came from a mountain in the distance. Yi Fan frowned. Huh? Isn't the heaven and earth rotation now? How can Master still crash into a wall? Maybe he himself can't figure out whether it's the heaven and earth rotation. So even if it's the heaven and earth rotation, he can't figure out the direction. Linglong speculated. Lu Chen, we're done. Linglong shouted at Lu Chen. Not long after, a man with a bruised nose and swollen face rushed towards them. Lu Chen shouted as he ran, it's the heaven and earth rotation now. Run! The four of them had not escaped far from the golden lion's attack range when they found another herb garden. There were two stone lions guarding the door. I finally know. Although there isn't a large herb garden here, there are many small herb gardens like this. The herbs in each herb garden are extremely rare. Ha ha ha, we're rich. Yi Fan said excitedly. Yeah, if these herbs are refined into pills, it'll definitely be a good income. Jiu Er agreed. Ling Long was also full of enthusiasm. She rolled up her sleeves. Okay, let's continue picking herbs. We must take all the herbs here. Lu Chen looked at the three of them in shock. Wait, again. I'm not going to be the bait this time. Last time, I almost died. The three of them looked at Lu Chen at the same time. Ling Long asked, do you know how to refine pills? Do you know how to pick herbs? Do you recognize these herbs? Yi Fan said, Master, you're the person I admire the most. How can you back down in the face of difficulties? We should face it head on. Jiu said, you're the strongest among the four of us. Of course, you'll go. Besides, you're already injured to this extent. It doesn't matter if you get hit a few more times. Lu Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. Faced with so many questions, he was actually speechless. You guys, really made bad friends. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and said. It couldn't be helped. Lu Chen really didn't know how to refine medicine. Apart from his fishing and cooking skills being very high, he was also a dabbler in refining tools. Refining medicine was a field that he hadn't come into contact with after obtaining Little Green. If I had known, I would have brought Little Green. No, I should have brought Little Green and the alchemy boy as well. I'll let the three of you be cannon fodder. I'll pick herbs alone. Lu Chen said ruthlessly, shaking his head as he walked out. The two golden lions had awakened. Lu Chen took a deep breath and said, actually, we'll leave after picking herbs. Why don't you two stop chasing us so fiercely? Compared to Lu Chen's confidence last time, Lu Chen was much more low-key this time. However, the golden lions didn't intend to listen to him and directly pounced on him. Move quickly. With a boom, Lu Chen crashed into the mountain. Damn it, the tables turned again. Are you crazy? Can't you inform us? Yi Fan nodded. Master is indeed a master. He's so good at luring monsters. With such a big commotion, it's hard to lose him even if we wanted to. Jiu snickered. This is the first time I've seen Nameless so unlucky. Ling Long said, when we get out, give him an extra share of the treasures. Let's hurry up and pick herbs. That night, Ling Long and the other two were counting the day's harvest. They had picked a lot of herbs from the 8 herb gardens. Lu Chen was seriously injured. He lay alone on the side, looking at the Jiutian star in the sky with a hopeless expression. This was only the first day, but he was already scared by the heaven and earth reversal. Mu Sheng, why don't you send me back? I really can't take it anymore. Lu Chen said with tears in his eyes. The golden lions didn't touch Lu Chen at all. His injuries were all caused by himself. After hundreds of attempts, it was fine when the heaven and earth reversal was used. However, when the heaven and earth reversal was used, the flow of spiritual power was irregular, causing unpredictable changes in the direction of displacement. For this reason, Lu Chen also tried to change the direction of the flow of spiritual power, but it ended in failure. Later, Lu Chen tried to deliberately crash into the mountain when the heaven and earth reversal was used. However, it turned out that a wrong was not necessarily a right, and it could be even more wrong. Lu Chen, have roamed the Jiutian for more than 10 years, and I've never been in such a sorry state. Lu Chen said fiercely. The Jiutian star in the sky was like the sun and the moon, and the change in spiritual power was caused by the instability of its internal structure. Was there no way to control it? Just as Lu Chen was trying to figure out the Jiutian star, a few of his teammates walked over. Lu Chen, lie down and don't move. I'll apply medicine for you. We picked a lot of good herbs this time, and they can help you recover quickly, Ling Long said. Lu Chen's heart warmed. It seemed that everyone was still worried about him. After all, we still have to rely on you to lure the monsters tomorrow. Lu Chen's face suddenly darkened. No, aren't you guys very strong? Isn't it a bit inhumane for a human king to charge and break through the enemy lines against 3 true immortals? Others might not know, but you don't. How could we dare to call ourselves immortals in front of you? No matter how strong we are not as strong as you, Ling Long said with a smile. Alright, we know you've suffered. We've kept your share for you. Besides, we might not need to lure the monsters tomorrow. When the time comes, we'll see who's better at dealing with them. Heal your injuries first. Lu Chen shook his head. The golden lion was still quite strong, and he was a bit worried about others. There was no other way. He could only do this hard work himself. Everyone assumed that there would be no one else in the underground immortal ancestor ruins, so they did not arrange for a night watch. Everyone did not dare to use spiritual power, and they were exhausted after a busy day, so they all rested in the camp. Lu Chen's injuries were all superficial, and he recovered quickly. However, he could not sleep at this time. He had dodged hundreds of times today, and he could not get rid of it. The outermost golden lion was already so strong, so the guards inside must be even stronger. In addition, there were traps. It would be very difficult to get good things. Thinking of this, Lu Chen gently got up and went to a slope outside the camp. He stared at the Jiutian star. Lu Chen frowned and muttered to himself, everything has spiritual power. Even this world with the Qiankuan reversal is the same. There must be a way to resist the influence of this reversed spiritual power. It can affect the circulation of my spiritual power, so it must be affected by my spiritual power. I can't detect it in time, which means that there must be something I haven't noticed. Let's try again. If you wanted to sense the change in spiritual power, the effect of displacement skills might not be obvious. Even ordinary attacks would have little effect. It was best to use cultivation techniques. I have many low-level cultivation techniques. Let's try them. Yi Fan was awakened by the sound of spiritual power explosions. He sat up and said, Master, Sister Jiu, Senior Ling Long, be careful of an ambush. This guy's vigilance was quite high. However, when he sat up, he found that the sound came from behind the slope not far away. Jiu, and Ling Long also woke up. Only Lu Chen did not know where he went. When the 3 of them rushed to the slope, they were shocked by the scene in front of them. Lu Chen had just stood up when he shouted and used Great Ravager. Then, he was sent flying. However, when he stood up, he used Great Ravager again, and he was sent flying again, and so on. Chapter 1264. This practice lasted for a few hours. While heaven and earth reversal was happening, Lu Chen kept using his spirit energy and carefully sensed the circulation of spirit energy in his body. However, due to heaven and earth reversal, the attack would directly attack the spirit core. Even if it was a low-level mighty Ravager sweep, Lu Chen could not keep practicing like this. Yi Fan and the rest should have rested enough. It's time to set off. With that, Lu Chen returned to the camp. Yi Fan and the others were still resting. However, Lu Chen discovered that there were 2 dark red pills and a piece of paper on the lawn where he was resting. Nameless brother, this is the spirit blood sky mending pill. It can help you repair your spirit core. Only Jiu, still called Lu Chen, nameless brother. It seemed that Jiu had left the pills for him. Lu Chen looked at the sleeping Jiu, This girl, after taking the pills, Lu Chen reviewed the feeling of the previous training. Unknowingly, more than an hour had passed. Ling Long and the rest had also woken up. The 4 of them set off again and went deep into the human race's territory. After walking for a short distance, they were blocked by a mountain range. The mountain was huge and completely blocked the path ahead. It was hundreds of meters tall and was a towering mountain even on the surface. Are we going to cross this mountain? Yi Fan asked. Ling Long thought for a moment and said, the surface should correspond to this place. If I'm not wrong, this place should correspond to the surface. It's also a place that nurtures treasures. It's best if we find the entrance first. What's the one-line sky? Asked curiously. It's the immortal ancestors' ruins on the surface. This area is also blocked by the mountain range, but there's a very hidden path. The path passes through the mountain and has countless forks, but they all lead to the opposite side. However, the passage can only accommodate one person. When passing through it, there's a one-line sky above your head. That's how it got its name, Ling Long said. Although the previous herb garden was somewhat different from the surface, it was still a herb garden in essence. Therefore, I think there might be other paths that can pass through here. Lu Chen frowned and said, what treasures are in the one-line sky? Treasure chest. Ling Long said. Treasure chest? Lu Chen asked, puzzled. Treasure chests can be born here. This is the 7th layer of heaven. Ling Long explained, the treasure chests were not nurtured. They were probably left behind by the immortal ancestors as bait. There are many elemental spirits in the immortal ancestor ruins. Most of them are earth spirits in the one-line sky. They collect heaven and earth spirit chi and seal it to make spirit tablets. They also collect spirit tablets of the fallen immortals. Spirit tablets are also things with spiritual energy. After an immortal dies, his spirit tablets will automatically use the teleportation talisman to escape and land in various parts of the 7th heaven. However, the earth spirit can immediately block the teleportation talisman and collect the spirit tablets to prevent them from escaping. Then, it will put these relics into the treasure chest. I don't know how many people have opened the treasure chests on the surface, but there are still spirit tablets inside the chests. The earth spirits don't attack treasure hunters, they just keep filling up spirit tablets. This seems to be their mission. Of course, how many spirit tablets you have in the treasure chest depends on your luck. It's normal for some people to encounter empty chests. Frowned and said, Sister Ling Long, you said that the treasure chests are bait and the earth spirits don't attack people. Does that mean that there are many traps in the one-line sky? Yes, no one will complain about having too many spirit tablets. Since everyone came to the immortal ancestor ruins to search for treasures, they naturally won't skip the one-line sky. The one-line sky is narrow and has very little room to dodge. It is undoubtedly the best choice to set up traps, Ling Long said. There is an unwritten rule in the one-line sky on the surface. To enter the one-line sky, every team must be more than 100 meters apart. This is to prevent others from triggering the traps and causing them to be unlucky. Lu Chen was very glad that Mu Sheng had brought Ling Long down. Her knowledge could allow the team to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Spirit tablets were a resource that everyone urgently needed. Thus, they definitely had to explore the one-line sky. The few of them hurriedly split up to search for the entrance. Not long after, Yi Fan shouted from afar, the entrance is here. The entrance was only about 3 meters wide. If one were to consider avoiding the traps, it would indeed be crowded for one person to walk through. Everyone, be careful. Pay special attention to the operation of the universe. Follow behind me. With that said, Lu Chen led the team into the one-line sky. As they walked on the small path, they looked up. Indeed, there was only a narrow gap above their heads. It felt somewhat stifling. However, they had only taken a few steps when Yi Fan, who was at the back, exclaimed, Master, why is the path behind us blocked? Everyone hurriedly looked behind them. Indeed, they had walked more than 20 meters, but about 20 meters behind them, the rock walls on both sides merged together, completely sealing off their path of retreat. What's going on? Lu Chen frowned. I don't know either. This has never happened in the one-line sky on the surface. Ling Long was also very surprised. Jiao said, there is still a difference between the underground and the surface. Perhaps this is a unique phenomenon here. We can only advance and not retreat. Fortunately, they had not encountered any traps yet. Taking advantage of the temporary safety, Lu Chen stopped first. Yi Fan said, if we can't turn back, then I think it's better for us to split up. There must be a large number of treasure chests here. If we pass through in one go, it will be too much of a loss. Lu Chen looked at the few of them and said, what do you think? Ling Long nodded and said, I agree. Jiao also nodded. Searching for treasures on the surface is also a true immortal leading a guest to search for treasures. We should also have the ability to protect ourselves. Ling Long said, if we really can't pass through, remember to run upwards. Lu Chen was originally a little worried. However, considering that everyone needed the spirit tablets, and that the other three were not weak, he could not always take care of them. He nodded and said, all right then, let's go together first. When we reach the fork, we will split up to search for treasures. Everyone, leave a voice transmission talisman. If we encounter any danger, we can find it in time. The first 50 meters were safe. There were no traps or treasure chests. However, 20 meters behind them, the rocks would automatically merge together. Not long after, a fork appeared in front of Lu Chen. There were a total of 7 paths. Everyone, choose one yourselves. Ling Long directly entered the nearest fork on the right. Jiao chose the one on the left. Yi Fan looked around and then looked at Lu Chen. Master, help me choose one. My luck with money is not very good. Lu Chen could not help but laugh. Isn't it all the same? Anyway, no one has been here before. As long as we can avoid the traps, won't we be able to earn spirit tablets with our hands? Yi Fan thought about it and agreed. He chose the path on the far right. Master, I'm leaving. After saying that, Yi Fan rushed into the entrance. Lu Chen waited for a while and realized that the rock walls behind the 3 paths had begun to merge. The 3 of them had already split up to explore deeper. Looking at the remaining 4 forks in the road, Lu Chen casually chose one and went in. After walking for 20 meters, there was a rumbling sound behind him. The entrance had closed. Now, Lu Chen had no way out. After a few more steps, Lu Chen suddenly found a stone tablet with 4 words written on it. Ultimate difficulty, Lu Chen's fighting spirit, which had just been ignited, suddenly froze. Chapter 1265. Ling Long did not mention the difficulty of the forks, but Lu Chen could still recognize the words on the stone tablet. He had successfully chosen the most difficult path. Cough, cough, it's nothing. The risk and reward are proportional. This is the ultimate difficulty, but the reward must be considerable. Lu Chen comforted himself. Although that was what he thought, Lu Chen still became careful. At that moment, Lu Chen felt a violent tremor under his feet, followed by a loud noise behind him. He hurriedly turned around and saw the 2 walls quickly merging and moving toward him. Originally, the merging of the walls maintained a distance of about 20 meters, but now, the walls were crazily squeezing and were about to catch up to Lu Chen. Fuck. This is too much. I'm here to hunt for treasures, not to do parkour. Before he could finish speaking, the walls were already pressing down on him. Lu Chen's eyes widened. He did not dare to complain and hurriedly ran forward. However, before he could take 2 steps, he triggered some unknown mechanism. Dozens of sharp sword auras directly penetrated the walls. Lu Chen's eyes widened. At this time, he had to use a displacement skill to dodge. Rapid movement. Lu Chen's speed increased sharply, but he was going in the opposite direction. Damn it, you're still using heaven and earth reversal at this time. Without a doubt, this stone wall was definitely not an ordinary stone wall. If he was really pressed down, who knew what the consequences would be? The walls on both sides merged crazily, making loud noises. Although Lu Chen had used rapid movement to avoid the sword auras, the result was not much better. He was now rushing toward that side. At the moment of life and death, Lu Chen suddenly used the move Listen with respectful attention. Listen was to pull the opponent in front of him, but because it was heaven and earth reversal, when he used it now, a huge force directly pushed Lu Chen back. Lu Chen did not have time to think. He got up and ran. He did not expect Listen to save Lu Chen's life. However, before he could even take 2 steps, a sword aura that was dozens of meters wide came straight at him. This sword chi's spiritual energy is so fierce. Lu Chen hastily jumped up. The sword chi streaked past Lu Chen's feet and exploded on the rock wall. With a loud bang, the sword chi smashed into the closed rock wall behind Lu Chen, but the rock wall remained undamaged. When Lu Chen saw this scene, his eyeballs nearly popped out of their sockets. This was enough to prove that this mountain was very strange. Such a powerful attack, but it didn't even manage to knock down a single piece of rock. At the same time, it also meant that if Lu Chen was crushed by the rock wall, he might not be able to escape. Jiu had just obtained her first treasure chest, which contained 200 spirit tablets. When she heard the rumbling sounds around her, she couldn't help but frown. She immediately took out a voice transmission talisman and asked, "What's going on? Is someone in danger?" Not long after, Ling Long replied, "Jiu, everything is normal here. I've already obtained my first treasure chest." After a while, Yi Fan also replied, "Sister Jiu, what danger?" "Ha ha ha, I'm rich. I've obtained 2 treasure chests and didn't encounter any traps. I have a total of 350 spirit tablets. The only one who had no news was Nameless Bro. Could it be Brother Nameless?" Jiu frowned. Nameless Bro did not reply, nor did he ask for help. She did not know how he was doing. After thinking about it, Jiu decided to continue searching for treasure chests. After all, Nameless Bro was not normal for a day or 2. If someone were to compare the progress of the 4 of them, they would realize that Lu Chen's progress was far ahead. At the same time, Lu Chen was frantically running for his life. Treasure chest. Lu Chen looked at a wooden chest in the corner. This was already the 7th treasure chest he had seen. However, the rocks behind him were merging faster and faster. They were only 3 to 4 meters away from Lu Chen. In addition, Lu Chen had stepped on all the traps. How could he have the time to open the treasure chest? Seeing that the rock wall behind him was about to catch up, Lu Chen used all ears on the rock wall. However, a suction force came. He did not suck in the rock wall, but he was sent over. However, after realizing this, Lu Chen did not panic. Instead, he was overjoyed. It's heaven and earth positive rotation. Lu Chen's eyes widened. He quickly activated Celestial Demon Symbiosis. He stepped on the rock wall and used the force to activate 9 void steps. In an instant, he was almost 100 meters away. Along the way, the traps closed in. Lu Chen blocked them with Void Guard. He finally had a moment to catch his breath. Not far away, there was a wooden chest by the grass. Lu Chen rushed over to open the treasure chest. There was a thick stack of spirit tablets inside. There were at least 1,000 of them. Lu Chen did not have time to count them. He put away the spirit tablets and continued running. With heaven and earth positive rotation, Lu Chen did not care about the traps. The rock wall behind him could not catch up to him. He finally had time to collect the treasure chest. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had collected 4 treasure chests. There were more than 1,000 spirit tablets in each chest. There's another one in front. That chest is huge. Lu Chen ran forward in pleasant surprise. Before Lu Chen could get close, the ground around the treasure chest suddenly collapsed. Following that, 4 figures emerged from the ground. After the 4 people appeared, the deep pit in the ground automatically repaired itself. The 4 of them stood around the treasure chest. The 4 of them were clearly not living creatures. Instead, they looked like carved statues. However, they were not like the guards from before. When the surface layer of rock fell off during the battle, they remained in their rock form. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Not good. Are they puppets? The 4 rock puppets stood there, blocking the path. Following that, the 4 rock puppets slammed the ground at the same time. Behind them, about 70 to 80 meters in front of Lu Chen, the rock wall actually merged. Lu Chen's eyes widened. The path ahead was blocked by the 4 rock puppets. He hurriedly looked behind him. There were about 200 meters left before the rock wall merged. In other words, he only had a few seconds left. Damn it! What kind of broken path is this? Lu Chen said angrily. Die for me. Rapid Shadow Spear. While heaven and earth positive rotation was still active, Lu Chen had to quickly kill the puppets and seize the treasure chest. Perhaps if he killed them, the path ahead would be unsealed. 2 rock puppets stood on each other's shoulders like a human pyramid. The 4 of them simultaneously raised a gray spirit shield. Combination skill, Ancient Earth Rock Shield. The 4 spirit shields merged into one and directly took Lu Chen's 6 rapid shadow spear head-on. With a loud bang, Lu Chen was shocked to find that the spirit energy he used to attack was absorbed by the Ancient Earth Rock Shield and then dispersed to the ground and rock wall. Using the earth and mountain range to dissolve my rapid shadow spear attack. Lu Chen was shocked. This was the first time someone was able to block his 6 rapid shadow spear. After the 4 rock puppets took the rapid shadow spear, they simultaneously slammed the rock wall. Lu Chen only felt the light above his head darken. When he looked up again, he saw that the line of sky was blocked by the rock. He didn't even have the chance to escape from above. The 4 rock puppets were expressionless. They quickly formed a line. The 3 at the back placed their palms on the back of the one in front and transmitted spirit energy. Until the one at the front made a move. Ancient Earth Rock Saber, Great Earth Chop. The ground in front of them quickly swelled up, and a golden saber rose from the ground. Immediately after, the golden saber fiercely waved, and a saber aura that occupied the entire passage slashed towards Lu Chen. Looking at this unavoidable saber, Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open, and his brain almost stopped working. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.